Well, hello! Hello, everyone! Welcome on in. I apologize for the lack of menu music. If I play the menu music here, I'm going to get DMCA'd several times. Welcome on in. Thank you for the raid, Carrot Top. Glad you can make it.
You're great.
Alright, you leave your chat with me. They're in good hands. I think. So, Pinball. Also, welcome all the new people. If you don't know who I am the Dapper Dragon. I stream basically whatever random bullshit I decide to stream. Got a lot of a big game collection. A lot of old games, a lot of weird games and obscure stuff, and every Sunday I do retro stuff. Tonight, we're doing a pinball history lesson, and I have a very important reason for doing this, because Zen Studios just came out with a new pinball game called Pinball Effects, and you might notice I'm not playing that at the moment. I'll get to that later. My favorite game is not the Lawnmower Man, Nula. Please, do not lie to the raiders. Also, thank you for the Nut and the Quake Who and the Luigi, and let me just hydrate real quick. My water bottle handy, but I do have a Thai iced tea with me. Still miss the old UI. The old UI is in the Xbox and Switch versions, but not the PlayStation and Steam versions. So, again, I apologize for the lack of menu music. If I have it enabled, it's Pinball Wizard by The Who, and I will get DMCA'd. Funny thing, I do actually own Superman 64. I would stream it, but I don't actually think you can beat the game. So, this right here, these favorites, is everything that I picked out to show you guys. I'm going to be doing them in release order so you can see pinball evolve over the years. And I do want to point something out real quick. So, this is Pinball Arcade. It has a collection of tables from a lot of different companies. These two names right here, Williams and Bally, are very important. You see all these tables? You see these two sections? That's 44 pinball tables. You cannot buy these anymore in this, because Zen Studios, the makers of Pinball Effects, own the rights to them. From Stern down is all that's left in the game. They lost 44 tables, at least. I didn't even get all the Williams and Bally tables. There's at least a couple dozen that I'm missing. And in this version, I don't have the AC/DC table. I have it in the Switch version. Wait, Superman 64 in multiplayer? Also, Peridot, I like you. I like you already, and I will get to that later. I want to get through our little pinball history lesson first. So, like I said, I have a list of all the tables in release order that I want to do from this. And, we'll get started. So this is not really like a proper history lesson. It's more of an informal one, because I'm going to show you the history rather than properly explain it. Especially because the information on some of these tables is a little limited. But our first table is going to be Central Park, which is a Gottlieb table from 1966. This is the oldest table in the collection, and since it's not Williams and Bally, you can still buy it. Now take a nice long look at this table real quick, because you may notice this doesn't look anything like modern tables. There's no ramps. There's no recognizable characters. There's no music, but that's because the menu music is disabled. You can't see it at the moment, but the scoreboard only has 4 digits. The highest score you can get on this table is 1,999. This flippers are pretty far apart. There's 4 out lanes instead of 2. And this came out 2 years after The Who's song Pinball Wizard. So The Who's song Pinball Wizard is talking about this style of pinball. Not what you're used to from the 90s or from the 2000s. They're talking about this. So keep that in mind as you see the other tables. Pinball Wizard is a beloved song, especially from pinball fans. But this is the kind of pinball that they were singing about. So I'm going to do this for every table. I'm going to go through the table history just to give a little bit more backstory. This game tends to bug out if you load a lot of tables too quickly, so I wasn't able to write all this down beforehand. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, Central Park. Considered one of the best playing classical tables, Central Park featured a comical backglass animation of a monkey ringing a bell every 100 points scored. Pinball Hall of Famers consider mastering table nudging and target shooting on this table to be essential to proving one's expertise at playing classic tables. 3,100 units of this table were produced. So you're going to have to deal with the lack of music for a little bit, because for this table and the next table, there is no music. Yeah, the song came out in 1964, 2 years before this one, and this is the oldest one in the collection. Keep in mind, pinball's older than that. There's a Three Stooges short that actually has a pinball table. You played the real table before? Nice. Alright, so I can't play pinball and talk at the same time, or talk to you guys at the same time. So when I'm playing the tables, I may be a little delayed in looking at chat, and I apologize for that. If I pause, there's a 3-second cooldown that I can't skip. So every time I pause, that's 3 seconds where I can't do anything. So once I'm done with the table, or if I've reached a point where I can pause, I'll try to get caught up on chat. I apologize for this. So again, no music. And the sound effects are really old bells. And we lost the ball already. This is going to be perfect. This is off to an amazing start. I cannot believe I'm doing this after someone rated. Now, I'm not very good with the nudging on this table because the flippers are pretty far apart. So I'm going to try my best here. Whoops. Oh god, that was a delayed reaction. Pinball has been around since the 1800s, but it was nothing like we know it today. That is true. In fact, I think the 1920s was the first time they added flippers. Keep that in mind. Flippers were not part of pinball initially. Should I go make a coffee or something? Okay, there we go. God! It's fine. I swear I am actually good at this. Yeah, okay, well... This table has been the bane of my existence, and like, I think it was Peridot who said it, it is a hard table, and that is true. It is actually very hard. Mainly because the flippers are so goddamn far apart. What is my high score on this? Spy is me, 1,895. Okay, that's actually close to the max score that the table can actually display. You recently watched a pinball documentary on YouTube, Nula? Send me that. I would like to watch that. First ever pinball table to have flippers was Humpty Dumpty in 1947. Okay, that's a little later than I thought. And actually would have been around the time of the Three Stooges short, I think. Alright. Second table. Big shot. This will be the last table that won't have music. 1974 table by Gottlieb. A lot of the old tables in this collection are Gottlieb. I have 2 of the old Williams tables, but I won't be showing them for this. So, this is from the 70s, and that's most of the old tables in the collection are from the 70s onwards. As you can see, they've upgraded a little bit. There actually is a goal for this table. You need to knock down all those drop targets, and then get the ball in that center hole where the 8 ball is. I've done it twice. Heard of the game Legends Pinball? I may have heard of it years ago when I was looking up pinball games. Oh, yeah, this table's really fun. Yeah, it's a classic table. One of my favorite classic tables. As a matter of fact, when I first bought tables for Pinball Arcade, the Big Shot and Black Hole bundle was the first one I bought. I think those are the only tables I own in the mobile version. It's a virtual pen. I will have to look into it. Big Shot. This table is the 2-player version of the table Hot Shot. This pool-themed game is very popular among expert players and collectors because of the skill required to hit the 14 drop targets. There were only 2,900 units manufactured, despite the fact that the gameplay is now considered a classic. So that's actually less than Central Park. So, I love this table, but I am not the best at it. It is a rather difficult table. But like I said, I have actually hit all 14 of the drop targets and then got the ball in the 8-ball hole before. I've done it twice years ago, and I've never been able to do it since. Now, the funny thing is, I've actually only played on real pinball once in my life. In 2015 or so, I went on a trip to Vegas with my sister, brother, and dad, and I went to the Pinball Hall of Fame. I actually made a big point to my sister out of practicing in Pinball Arcade before we went to the Pinball Hall of Fame. And, god damn it. One of the tables I practiced on, or one of the tables I played at the Hall of Fame, was Safecracker. One of the only tables I've actually played in real life, because that was the sole time I ever played real pinball. And then a week later, Safecracker was announced for Pinball Arcade. So that's the only time I actually got to play on the table that I remember that later came to Pinball Arcade. Unfortunately, my memories of Vegas are kind of soured because my aunt was also with us, and I found out she disobeyed instructions from my grandma and made the trip a little less fun for me and my sister. Which I didn't know at the time. But I don't want to get into that right now. I do want to go back to Vegas at some point so I can go back to the Pinball Hall of Fame. But I have no idea when that's ever going to happen. I am most certainly not doing that in the summer like we did with our trip. Oh my god, am I going to do it? Am I going to do it? Holy shit, is it happening? No! Oh, god damn it. Oh. Oh, that's so disappointing. Maybe if I had tilted, I could have done it. Again, it's been years since I last pulled it off. I think I did it twice in the PC version and was never able to do it on Switch. Yeah, you know, it's fine. Oh, hey. So that's Big Shot. That is the last classic table we'll be playing. Everything else past this will have sound effects and music. Virtual Pen came out 3 years ago now. You're gonna need a lot of space for it if you want one, as it's a full real size. Oh, okay, that's what you meant by Virtual Pen. Okay. Played Black Knight 2000 IRL on a Furcon. We'll actually be getting to that. You can normally do it on one ball. Nice. Yeah, like, I am not the best at pinball, but I am good at it. I've actually been breaking my high scores a lot. Big Shot is one of the harder tables for me. But we're getting closer to the tables I'm actually relatively good at. So the next table we're doing is Genie. This is another Gottlieb table. The next table will be a Williams one. This is from 1979. So the two tables we've done so far have been what are called solid-state tables. Solid-state tables don't have much in the way of digital electronics. Everything is done without the help of that, and the display is through a rolling scoreboard. Now, Peridot may know the terms better than me, so I'm probably misusing terms. I'm doing my best because I don't actually know a lot of them. So if anyone can offer up any corrections, I would appreciate it. This is a numeric table because the scoreboard is actually digital. Kind of like an old clock. Genie. Considered by many to be the best wide-body table of its era and possibly of all time, a true Gottlieb classic that is very addictive. This table was designed with well-thought-out objectives and features 5 flippers. 2 flippers in the upper left corner create a mini playfield. 6,800 units of this table were produced. We have a world record on the table right now. I'm currently 3rd in the world on a table called Robot Retro from Zakaria Pinball. I have Zakaria Pinball. I don't have all the tables on the Steam Deck because I'm actually doing this from a Steam Deck. But I do have all the tables in the Switch version. I really need to play it more. I'm not a huge fan of Zakaria's tables, but I do like some of them. Pool Champion is probably my favorite. And the remakes are actually really good. Alright. So this is a wide body table. As you may notice, it is a rather wide one. So, okay, I was wrong. There's no music for this table, but there are sound effects, which is a step up from what we've been doing. I am absolutely dog shit at this table. So. Also, I'll be getting to the Zen Studio stuff later, but I do want to point out I have been kicking myself for not having kept up with the releases of tables in this game. God damn it. before the licenses were pulled, because there's a lot of good tables that I later ended up playing in Pinball FX3 that I wish I had had in this, now that Zen Studios has kind of revealed their true colors. But I will say Pinball FX is what kind of prompted this, because for people in my community and any friends who wanted to show up, I wanted to kind of just showcase a problem with preservation and licensing agreements. Now this table is a Gottlieb table, so it's actually still available for purchase. But the first table, actually the first two tables I have shown are also still available for purchase, because they're also Gottlieb tables. The next one is not available for purchase, and there's actually no official way to play it anymore, unless you can track down the Williams collection for Pinball Hall of Fame, which is also by this dev, for Wii, Xbox 360, PS3, or 3DS. Because the next table we're doing is called Gorgar, and it was one of the earliest tables added to Pinball Arcade, but it's not present in either Pinball Effects game with the Williams and Valley tables. They have done very little in terms of adding the alphanumeric tables, and have instead focused on the more recognizable and more popular dot matrix tables. But we'll be getting to that as it comes. I like how I occasionally have delayed reactions where I just don't do anything. And I promise, for those who may be a little bored, we are going to get to the more exciting tables shortly. We just have, I think, a couple more tables to get through that are like this. And then we'll get to the stuff where pinball really took a life of its own. And there's a lot of tables we won't be getting to. There's a lot of favorites of mine that I did not pick out because I was a little concerned about time. So maybe next week I can show off the other tables. As a bit of a spoiler for this week or next week's schedule, I'm going all in on Outer Wilds because I'd like to finish the game before May. So Sunday's stream next Sunday is currently up in the air because I think I can finish Outer Wilds by Wednesday, but I'm not actually sure. If I can't, I'll stream it again on Sunday. But if I can finish it, I guess I'll have to find something else to fill Sunday's stream, and it might be Pinball Arcade. I don't know yet. And I see chat is moving a little bit. I apologize for not reading chat. It is a nuisance to have to pause and unpause in this. So I'm doing what I can here. If this was Pinball Effects, unfortunately, as much as I dislike Zen Studios, one of the nice things about it is you can actually skip the countdown from unpausing. And this you can't. And it really can disrupt the flow, and it also bugs out the audio in some of the tables, because in a couple of the tables, if you pause, the music keeps playing, even though the music is part of the table. All of the Stern tables ripped from Stern Pinball Arcade, which I unfortunately won't be able to show off because they crashed the game in this, have that issue on Switch. And for whatever reason, the only other table that has that I've noticed is Black Hole, which is actually coming up in a moment, or in a bit. I think it might be after Gorgar. Yeah, it is. No, we're getting there. We'll get to Black Hole. Yeah, I'm actually lasting a lot longer than I normally do on this table. Kind of annoyed that we're lasting a lot, or that I'm lasting a lot longer on this, because this is actually one of the more boring tables. Since there's just a lot of moments where the balls are just not really hitting anything. Just look at that. There's so much open space in the center. Is this going to be a new high score? I feel like this might be a new high score. Oops. I I think that's a new high score. That is indeed a new high score. Okay. Let's see. Oh god, the retro tables are so janky. Zakaria Pinball is fun for achievement hunting. You unlock new tables. I will admit some of their tables are a little weird, but unfortunately they have the partnership with @Games from... Ew. For my V-Pins, so without doing the mods, they are the only official tables I can get. God. I'll get to @Games after I finish reading the rest of chat. There's a lot of shitty things going on in the background. That's why the Williams Bally licenses were pulled from the Pinball Arcade. The jingles are so wacky. Is the fault on Farsight for losing the Williams and Bally licenses? Because I assumed the fault wasn't with Farsight. Based on what Farsight themselves said, it sounded like they don't really know. They didn't know why the licenses were pulled. Also, if you haven't seen it, you're going to want to check out the new movie that just came out called Pinball, the Man Who Saved the Game. Ooh. I was not aware of that. I will have to. I'm glad we have a fellow pinball fanatic. Carrot picked a very good person to raid if you're, for you to join in. I think you're from Carrot's raid. Let's see, what's next? Gorgar. Okay, yeah. I will admit, I don't know the details of what happened with the Williams and Bally licenses, but as far as I know, it wasn't Farsight's fault. Also, @Games is a funny name for you to bring up because they're the ones that murdered Pac-Man's family. Like, literally. Namco had to change the designs of Pac-Man's family because @Games cheated them out of the rights to Miss Pac-Man. They don't even own the rights to Miss Pac-Man. They own the license to use her, but they can't use her without Namco's permission, so they're essentially sitting on something they don't own. Alright. So, you may notice the art here is getting a little more intricate. Because we're moving into the point where pinball tables kind of took on a life of their own and had their own characters. Some of which, as we'll see, return for future tables. But this table is actually important, and the reason why I'm highlighting this is because this is one of the first tables to have voice acting. Gorgar was designed by Barry Orsler, I'm butchering that name, a legendary designer who helped create many classics over 2 decades. His credits include Pinbot, Cyclone, Comet, Space Shuttle, and Jungle Lord, to name just a few. Gorgar was the very first talking pinball machine. With a vocabulary of 7 words, Gorgar speaks, beat, me, you, hurt, and got. Gorgar is able to say phrases such as Gorgar speaks, me Gorgar beat me, and you hurt Gorgar. It has a magnetic snake pit that holds your ball captive as he thunders, me got you. The audio also features a heartbeat sound that races faster and faster as the action of the gameplay builds up when the player is doing well. Over 14,000 units of this table were produced. It's partially true, however, also Namco is mostly at fault because they didn't even want to pay the licensing fees before @Games bought them off GCC. That's the thing, though. GCC thought @Games had negotiated with Namco first, which is why they sold the rights, because Namco was going to buy it off GCC. @Games lied, because they put together a fake cabinet to have proof that they got the rights from Namco. So Namco didn't want to pay the licensing fees because it doesn't really make sense for them since Pac-Man is tied to them. But @Games got the rights because they cheated and lied in order to buy it. So Namco didn't want to pay the licensing fees, which is a problem. But @Games got the rights because they lied about Namco agreeing to them. To GCC. So now we got the more complicated stuff. As you can see, we're still on a numeric table. And And this is one of my favorite tables from this era. And I already lost the ball. But yeah. At Games as Hell. Yeah, I think they also have Genesis. Or they've worked with Sega before on Genesis plug-and plays that are all garbage. But Paradox, if you have information on what exactly led to the Williams and Bally tables being removed, I would be very interested in that because, as far as I'm aware, Farside didn't do anything wrong. Pause for this. Like I said, it's a complicated story, as it's been my understanding that Namco has always hated the fact that they had to pay royalties to GCC for Miss Pac-Man, so they've always tried to find ways to avoid paying for years. I mean, I could kind of understand that because... And then Act Games came in and made things worse. Yeah, that is roughly my understanding, though. In my opinion, it's weird that Namco should even have to pay the fees because Miss Pac-Man is tied to Pac-Man, and nobody can make anything with Miss Pac-Man without going through Namco. Because they own the rights, or they own the license to use Miss Pac-Man, but they don't own the rights to the Pac-Man franchise, so they can't actually do anything with it without Namco. That's my understanding. Also, the text is glitched again, so that's fun. Oh, it's really glitched. Nothing I can do about that. I don't know why that happens. This game hasn't been updated since 2018, for reasons we'll get to. So, unfortunately, a lot of glitches in the game are still present, and I can't even play some of the tables. It's beating fast. Shit. Also, if you listen closely in some of these tables, you can actually hear sound effects from arcade games like Robotron and Defender. Because Williams, Bally, and Midway were basically three branches of the same company. Something to note, all three of them are based in Chicago, or were based in Chicago. And that's where I am right now, because I live in Chicago. If you're new here. I don't know what happened to Williams exactly, but I think they got sold. The rights to the tables for Williams and Bally got sold to Electronic Games, which I think rebranded to Williams Electronic Games. I don't know where they're based. Bally, as far as I know, still exists, and they actually are working on casino equipment now, I think. I heard about them trying to open a casino. And Midway went bankrupt in the 2000s, and when they were bought by Warner Brothers, they were rebranded as NetherRealm Studios, which is still based in Chicago. And I actually went to a panel at a convention and almost had an opportunity to ask Ed Boon if he feels personally responsible for mocap in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. For those that have never played Mortal Kombat, mocap is considered to be the worst character in the history of the series. Because everyone is like a martial artist, or an alien, or a demon, and mocap is just a dude in a motion capture suit. He's a joke character, kind of meant to tease the mocap actor for the 3D games. But he has, like, no personality, and he literally just exists. His backstory is he's from Chicago, and he ended up in Outrealm, and that's it. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know anything. He just wants to get back on. The only way you even get that info, by the way, is if you find him in a very specific spot in Mortal Kombat Deception or Armageddon. I don't remember which one. He may as well just be... Man. That's how generic he is. I'm gonna get another high score here. Chad's fine about it. Might want to turn the game audio down a little. Oh yeah, let me do this real quick. Sorry if that was getting loud. I didn't want to keep pausing. Pretty good. Mocap should be the random character like Mokujin in Tekken and Charade in Soul Calibur. Well, it's normally Edgemaster in Soul Calibur. Charade's only playable in Soul Calibur 2, and you can fight it in Soul Calibur 3. Alright, let's see how that is. Alright, the whole situation with it is confusing because it was Midway that gave GCC the rights to the Pac-Man name, and they were only able to do that because of some loophole in the original contract signed with Namco. So it really is the most confusing mess of a story. The only game I can think of that's even worse than that was Tetris and its licensing. Oh god. Yeah, the Tetris licensing mess is a mess. Alright, what's next? Black Knight. Alright, you may notice there's a second Black Knight table here. We'll get to that. 1980. By Williams. So this is another table that's not available, and this is also not available in Pinball Effects. So, we have ramps now. In fact, there's a second playing field that's on the higher end. Yeah. Sorry, lost the cursor for a moment. Black Knight was designed by Steve Ritchie. Remember that name, we're going to be seeing it a lot. Who also lent his talents as the voice of the Black Knight. This table was the first ever to introduce a split-level playfield with 3 ramps leading to and from the upper playfield. This classic also featured the first ever magnet save, a magnet that allowed users to push a button which saves the ball from draining down the outlane. Another first was Bonus Ball. In a multiplayer game, this feature awards the player with the highest score a few additional seconds of free play. 13,075 tables were produced. So, funny thing, I almost didn't include this table for the stream. I chose to include it at the last minute because I was really annoyed that there was an open space on the favorite screen when I had the Steam Deck docked. I'm glad I did, because I actually didn't realize this was the first table to include the ramps and upper playing field. Or at least the upper playing field. So again, there is no official way of playing this table anymore. The only way you can play it on anything official is if you track down a physical copy, because the digital versions are gone, of Pinball Hall of Fame, the Williams Collection, for Xbox 360, PS3, Wii, or 3DS. The Pinball Hall of Fame collection, mind you, is a pair of games. One was focused on Gottlieb, the other on Williams, which were made by Farsight Studios prior to Pinball Arcade. And as you can tell, they came out late enough that one of them was on 3DS. The Gottlieb collection, mind you, was on PS2. That's how big of a gap there was. It features jankier physics than this one. This came out in I want to say 2013, maybe? As a mobile game, and then later got a PC. Farsight's mission was to preserve pinball history in a readily accessible way for, relatively affordable prices. Because as we're going to get to in a little bit, some of these tables have a lot of moving parts. Those moving parts will break down over time, and eventually there won't be enough people left who know how to repair them. And that's assuming the documentation for doing so even exists. And that was Farsight's whole thing. They wanted to preserve pinball history. Zen Studios now with the Williams and Ballard license, has actually not made any such commitment. In fact, the only commitment they've made is to have a universe of brands via pinball. That sounds like something you've heard before. It's because Epic Games has said the same thing about Fortnite, it being a universe, or rather a metaverse, of brands. We'll get to the other issues with pinball effects later, but this is the main reason why Farsight losing the licenses is so frustrating, because they had done good work, and it was all undone by Zen Studios. There's still more tables Farsight could add. Gotta go have a good rest of stream. Okay, I see this, MP. So for the reason that the licenses were pulled from Farsight Studios, it's rumored that Zen came in and did a lot of shady backdoor deals and spent tons of money to get the rights pulled. I've never been able to fully confirm any of it, though, so I don't know how true it is. Yeah, see, that's what I assumed. Now that I fully understand what Zen Studios is like, that's what I have been assuming. I'm just going to outright accuse them of stealing the rights of Farsight Studios. I don't care if they see this or whatever. I am accusing them of doing that. Because, like I said, Farsight's whole thing was to preserve pinball. Zen Studios has made no such commitment at all. They just want as many brands as they can get their hands on to create some stupid fucking universe of pinball, or whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. I am sick of metaverses. Now, granted, Pinball Arcade is a metaverse, if you want to be stupid like that. But that's not what it's trying to be. It's more like a museum. It's trying to preserve this stuff, not shove brands in your faces. Did you know that there is a third Black Knight pinball table released in 2016? Yes, I was actually going to mention that when I got to Black Knight 2000. It's called Black Knight 3000. I believe it's from Stern. His Pinball Hall of Fame, the Gottlieb Collection, and William Collections are both on PS2 and PS3. I have. Well, where they were both on PS2. Okay, I wasn't aware Williams was. Zen is all about the money. They care nothing of saving games. They proved that when they went all Epic Games exclusive. Yeah, they did that because they ran out of money. Probably because of the licenses. Oh, interesting. Oh my god, is that an overlay glitch? When it lays over the... Oh, don't tell me the text doesn't change color. They're just... Oh my god, it's just it's not layering text over the white text, is it? Is that why it's glitching out? Just funny because they're owned by Microsoft, I'm pretty sure. I don't think so. Tencent, maybe, but I don't think Zen is owned by Microsoft. I could be wrong. But if they are, that's news to me. I think they're Swedish? I know that doesn't really matter because if they're owned by Tencent, Tencent is Chinese, but... I'll have to look into that. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest, Pinball Arcade isn't perfect. I mean, if you're used to real pinball tables, you can probably tell the physics here are very wonky. They're not perfect in pinball effects either. But they are at least a little better, and the tables look more realistic in pinball effects. So I will give it that. Zen has the better engine. But they're doing it for the wrong reasons. They don't want to preserve pinball history. They just want easy money. Because it means they don't have to make the, Wow, really? Okay. It means they don't have to make new tables, they can just take what Williams and Bally already made, slap the really shitty remake coat over it that nobody actually wants to use, and, call it a day. Alright, what's next? Flight 2000. Alright, I am so glad I wrote the years in my notes. So despite the fact that that says 2000, this is actually a 1980 table. This is the oldest Stern table in the collection. This is actually chosen from a poll back in 2013 or so, I believe. Maybe earlier than that. Well, I think it would be 2013. Funnily enough, most of Stern's other tables in the collection are from the 2000s onwards. For whatever reason, they didn't really let Farsight do anything with the classic stuff. Now, from what I've heard, Stern isn't really that great either. And I want to point out something. When Electronic Games pulled the rights to the Williams and Bally tables from Farsight, Farsight actually acknowledged that none of the tables were on sale and outright said, we want to do this, but they won't let us. They threw Electronic Games under the bus. And when people complained that the Stern table prices were too high, they threw Stern under the bus and said, we didn't set the prices. This is what we had a compromise with. And that is a sign of a good company, in my opinion, because they're outright saying, we don't like it either. When people complained about the pinball prices for Zen Studios' games, Zen Studios replied with a preset response that doesn't actually address anything. They have been consistently replying to criticism with non-answers that are either in broken English or are just copy-pasted from another answer. Keep that in mind. And again, Pinball FX3 is actually really good pinball. But you have to give money to Zen Studios to play the tables, unfortunately. I am gesturing as if you can see me. And you can't get some of these tables anymore. Black Knight was a Williams table. You can't buy that anymore, and it's not in Pinball FX. Flight 2000 is a Stern table. You can still buy this. Okay, it was my mistake. They're not owned by Microsoft. They just have a big partnership with them. Just thinking how there's another Pinball Arcade game that was released in 1997 that only had Gottlieb tables. There's also a Microsoft Pinball Arcade on PC from the 2000s, I think. Pinball Arcade is a very generic name, since that just describes a thing that exists. Anyways, Flight 2000 was the winner of our fan poll in early 2013. Hey, it was right. As the classic Stern table you most wanted to see in the Pinball Arcade. It was designed by Harry Williams and was the first talking Stern table. It features a unique 3-ball multi-ball mode, where each ball is launched through 3 separate liftoff stages. This takes place at the upper left of the playfield inside a maze-like ball lock mechanism. 6,301 units of this table were produced. So this is not one of my favorite tables. However, when I was a kid, I didn't have a whole lot of PC games. So I played a lot of shareware and demo stuff that my dad installed. And one of the demos that was on both my Windows 2000 PC and later my Windows XP PC that I used was Space Cadet Pinball. So any of the space-themed classic tables really appeal to me because they remind me of Space Cadet, which I have actually recently learned is just a demo for a game called Full Tilt Pinball. A game that is not available for sale anywhere, so if you look at certain sites, god motherfucking damn it, you can probably find it. If I can get it working on the Steam Deck, that'll be a stream someday. This isn't a very interesting table in my opinion, but it's not a bad one. Now, my actual favorite space-themed table that's in this collection is Space Shuttle, but I chose not to include it for the pinball lesson. Because I wanted to fill it out with some other things. This table isn't bad, it's just, like I said, not one of my favorites. Have a sip of my Thai iced tea. I mean, if you absolutely have to give money to Zen Studios, stick with Pinball FX3. Because it's still supported for the next couple of years and the tables are always on sale for super cheap. Yeah. Pinball FX3 is the better Pinball FX. If you can, don't get it on Switch. Because the Star Wars and Marvel tables, which are not real tables, aren't in the Switch version. The Switch version has its own Star Wars pinball game, and the Marvel tables aren't present at all. Honestly, though, despite the fact that the Williams and Bally tables that are in the collection are from the 90s, they're better than all the original tables. Gotta say, though, the Aliens, El Dorado, and Dune tables are really good. Also, if you really want to have access to hundreds of thousands of pinball tables for free, look into VPX and Pinup Popper. Now it takes... I'll set that up, but it's worth it in the end. If I can do it on Linux, I will do it. Interesting that you didn't mention VPinMame and Visual Pinball, though, because that's what I would have expected. I have actually used Visual Pinball in the past, but I ran into some issues with some of the recreated tables having misaligned ramps and such. So I would warn you all to be wary of fan-made recreations of some of the tables, because they might not be as accurate or as good as the ones in Pinball Arcade or Pinball FX3. I just heard a very loud noise outside, so I hope that's okay. Really hope this isn't another stream where a crime gets committed outside, because that's happened a couple times. I won't say where I live, but I do say I do live in Chicago, and there have been a couple times on stream where someone with me, usually my brother, heard gunshots. Though every time that's happened, I didn't hear it. BPX is visual pinball. Okay, all right. I wasn't aware that was the acronym. All right, I'm gonna apologize ahead of time for this next table because the noise in it is quite obnoxious. But this is Black Hole, one of the first tables I bought. A Gottlieb table from 1981.
A black hole.
This is a pretty cool table. Ugh, excuse me. Black Hole. This was the first table to feature the revolutionary lower reverse playing surface. However, its biggest claim to fame is that it was the first accepted table that cost 50 cents to play, which quickly made it the highest earning pin game in the history of the industry. With its fast-paced gameplay and unique feature set, this table is considered a classic that was ahead of its time. 8,774 units of this table were produced. Bear it out, thank you for the follow. That actually startled me. Why is this considered menu music? Why did it not? Okay. Why is the... Huh? There we go, there's the music. Okay. If you're a fellow pinball lover, I can't not follow, it would be a crime. Yeah, I will say, I do not do pinball streams very often. This is a once in a while kind of thing. But I am a bit of a pinball fan myself. Though ironically, like I said, I've only played pinball in real life once in my life. But I play all kinds of pinball games. I love... When I was a kid, I played a shitload of Pokemon Pinball, Ruby and Sapphire. Hey, Lizzie was in here. And one of my favorite games on DS is Metroid Prime Pinball, which granted I only got recently. I feel like we're not going to be on this table for much longer. Can I please at least make it into the lower playing field? Oh, God. Space Cadet is one I mentioned. Yeah, we're not. Right. I'm gonna run this one again, because I want to actually show the lower playing field at least. Like I said, I'm not the best at pinball, but when I'm not trying to give a pinball history lesson, I do play reasonably well. I'm not actually logged in, so I do not have my high scores posted, because I do not remember what my login was. I set up a Farsight Studios account in 2013, and I have switched laptops since then, and I've switched browsers 3 times since then. So, fuck if it's saved. I have no idea. And I can't imagine their password recovery would still be working, considering Farsight Studios hasn't posted anything since 2018. I'm fairly confident Zen Studios just literally killed Farsight, because they've said nothing. And I see chats moving. For those... Oh, wait, okay, you know what? I could have paused there. I'm just going to do that. Sadly, well, man, I played way too much of the Windows pinball back in the day. Do you mean Space Cadet? I like pinball. It's fun for casual play. It is! Especially if you don't mind just constantly practicing, basically. Grew up in the arcade, so arcade games and pinball are a huge part of my life. I currently have my own custom-built arcade cabinet and virtual pinball table right next to me. Cool. I've got a Galaxian and Galaga cabinet from Arcade 1-Up in my room with me. No pinball table, though. I frequented arcades a decent amount when I was a kid. There was a skate park area in Chicago that I went to every now and then because they had a really nice arcade. I distinctly remember they had a gauntlet. What was the 3D gauntlet? Dark Legacy? No, not Dark Legacy. The one that came before it. The Dark Legacy is the NES version. It was that. They had that. They had Metal Slug 3. One of the Time Crisis games, and I think Tekken 4? The game is still louder than me. What in the... Okay. Oh, wait, yeah, you're right. That is pretty loud. Alright, how's that? I did not anticipate it to be that loud. I do have to turn the menu music off again, because if I leave it up, I will get DMCA'd. This should be the only time this is an issue. Should be the only time. Arcade 1-Up has brought people back to the arcade scene. You don't like their build quality? It's a little better. Alright, well, we'll see how it is with the next table. Haunted House. Okay, this one should have constant music that isn't tied to the menu. 1982 from Gottlieb. Oh, don't. Wait, I think I just gotta start a game and we'll find out. Yeah, the build quality on the cabinets isn't amazing, but, you know, it's decent for what it is. Okay, thank God we have music. Yep! Forgot something. Hang on. Haunted House was designed by John Osborne and is widely considered an iconic pinball game with its innovative features, beautiful graphics, and haunting sound. This was the first table to have a triple-level playfield that was accessible by one ball. The 3 playfield levels represent the cellar, main floor, and attic of a haunted house. Players use 8 flippers to move their ball through the 3 floors of spooky fun by shooting up and down ramps, tubes, and trap doors that lead from one room to the other. Come inside, but please be warned, you'd best not play alone. 6,835 units of the table were produced. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we have upgraded to alphanumeric. These scoreboards, as you can see there's 4 of them, can now display text and other symbols. And as you can see, we have 3 playfields here. Upper playfield and the lower one, which uses black holes, reversed playfield. You still see this in a couple new tables. An AC/DC table from Stern, which I unfortunately was not able to grab in this version, kind of did the same thing. Specifically the premium edition. I'm not very good at this table. Unfortunately, this table doesn't have a whole lot of interesting stuff on it, because they can't have anything in the center. Hey Johnny, welcome to the stream. Favorite table from the Microsoft Pinball Arcade. Out of curiosity, I should track that down. I also might track down the Pro Pinball games on PS1, because I played a remake of one of them, and it's actually really good. And Simki, who left earlier, has talked to me about a GameCube pinball game from Nintendo called Odama, which is one of the weirdest first-party Nintendo games. It is a strategy game where you control units in a pinball-style playfield by issuing commands through the GameCube microphone. And no, I'm not making that up. I think he also mentioned a PS1 pinball game that only came out in Japan called Necronomicon Pinball or something like that. which is a really bizarre pinball game. I've watched some gameplay of it. Yeah, links are banned here just to avoid issues with bots. So mind you, if you are going to post links, keep in mind Twitch's TOS, whatever that link was. If it's an abandonware site, I'd imagine it's fine, since the games are going to be sold, as long as the games on the site are not being sold, because there are some abandonware sites that don't actually have abandonware. I will have to look at it later. Shit! Oh, it's archive.org. Oh, okay, yeah. By the way, if those fucking authors, the 4 dipshits who sued archive.org, actually get the site taken down, I am going to specifically write a novel about those 4 idiots. And it won't be pretty. Because archive.org is necessary. Did you play Yoshi Island's Pinball Metroidvania? Sorry, Yoku Island. I have it. I've actually been looking for an excuse to stream it, and I haven't had an opening yet, because I've been stuck with some games. Where are we going? Oh, we got a special one coming up. You know, this Thai iced tea is supposed to have boba in it, but I think it's all stuck to the bottom. Didn't Yoku's Island Express earn a BAFTA? Going Nuts, 1983, from Gottlieb. Keep in mind, that year is a lie. This table never came out. So, remember what we've all talked about with mixing. That's what mixing shaking the can is for. I did. I didn't do it hard enough. To me, that lawsuit is frivolous and should be thrown out. Oh, absolutely. But unfortunately, capitalism has a point, I guess. Came out in prototype only? Yeah, we're about to get to that. So, remember what we've been saying about Zen Studios and their lack of care for pinball preservation? Going Nuts is one of the rarest pinball tables ever. It never made it into production as new management considered wider tables too expensive to mass produce. Each turn begins with 3-ball multi-ball and there are no outlanes. The unique style of timer-based gameplay and the rarity of this table make it a classic collector's item today. Only 10 units were made as engineering examples. One of the only known working versions of it is in Vegas at the Hall of Fame. God damn it, I should have played it while I was there. So, for those of you who know what we've talked about with Zen Studios, the tables they have are stuff like Doom, Skyrim, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, which came out like 10 fucking years too late, Kung Fu Panda, Star Wars, Marvel, some original tables based on the game, their own game, Castle Storm, generic Defending the Earth from Mars, not Mars, Martians, aliens, something like that. And then they have the Williams and Ballard tables, like the really popular ones, like Indiana Jones, Twilight Zone, The Addams Family. But they would never have something like this. Are there any recognizable characters? No. Is there any music? Not really. Is it instantly recognizable to people who have a moderate interest in pinball? No. Is it tied to a brand people would recognize? No. Could they come up with something clever to use for a stupid remake? No. But Farsight included it. Farsight included this. They could have included something that actually came out, something that's more recognizable or has a more popular license, but they didn't. Because it was important to preserve this. This is one of the rarest pinball tables ever played. Most people won't even get to play this. It never came out. And like Paradox said, it sounds like the Pinball Hall of Fame in Vegas is the only place that has a working version. And keep in mind, Paradox, actually, what are your pronouns? Before I say this. Keep in mind, Paradox said working version. which implies there are other copies of it that people have, but they don't work. And if a pinball table doesn't work, it's not really playable, is it? Which is why Pinball Arcade is so important. Because this table will never break down. It's fake. It's digital. If the data gets corrupted, I can simply reinstall the game and fix it. I don't have to track down someone who can find the documentation on how to fix it. He, him? Okay, thank you. I don't have to track down someone who has the documentation on how to fix this. Assuming they can even find the parts to do it. Assuming it'll even work after it's fixed, if it can be fixed. That's why pinball preservation is so important. And once we get further along in the history of pinball, we're going to get to some tables with a lot of moving parts. Stuff that can very easily break down even after just a few plays. Zen Studios, of course, doesn't care about that because their bottom line is, can they get people to spend money on it? Also, just for the record, this is everything that I'm not showing today. I have a lot of tables in this. Alright, what's next? Pinbot. Oh, I did include that. Okay, I thought I left it out for some reason. A lot of the 90s tables are tables that break down a lot. Oh yeah, well it's because of all the moving parts. Williams, 1986. Pinbot. So, this table got a sequel called The Machine Bride of Pinbot, which I do own, but I did not include in my list to show. It also got a second sequel called Jackbot, which actually has a dot matrix display. But unfortunately, I never bought that table. So this is a character, this Pinbot character, has actually appeared in several other tables. One of the tables that I'll be showing later is called Taxi and features Pinbot, and I believe the Party Zone, which I wasn't able to buy in this before it left, also includes Pinbot. Pinbot is a brilliant design from industry veterans Barry Orsler and Python Angelo. Players are challenged with advancing to all 9 planets in the solar system before reaching the sun. The playfield features a robot visor that opens to reveal 2 eye eject holes, a skill shot into the vortex, and the solar ramp, which can be raised to hit the target beneath it. With its outstanding lighting effects and audio, including robot-like speech, Pinbot is truly the ultimate machine. It was so successful that it spawned 2 sequels, The Machine Bride of Pinbot, released in 1991, and Jackbot, released in 1996. 12,001 units of this table were produced. This table was also included in the Williams collection for Pinball Hall of Fame. Bride of Pinbot is in Pinball Effects, but not this, which means they included the middle of the trilogy. Of course, Bride of Pinbot, I guess, is closer to what we would call recognizable for a universe. Sicaria Pinball is so weird just because how most tables have a remake with LCD and retro table. They also have a deluxe version for some of them, which are even weirder. Taxi is one of my all-time favorite tables, IRL and digital. It's a good table. I also am very fond of Diner. Oh, speaking of, I forget to mention this, but I have a content warning command. Just want to use it real quick. I do need to state, some of the tables are a reflection of their time, and I do not condone everything that they may imply. I think I have curated the tables enough to avoid some of that. But some of these are a reflection of their times. Taxi is actually one of them because one of the characters you can give a ride to is Mikhail Gorbachev, who was the final leader of the Soviet Union before his death in the 90s. I think it was the 90s. Was it the 90s? Which is kind of a thing on its own. Not the Cold War, the fact that they just randomly included the Soviet leader. They used him again in Diner, funnily enough. But at least 1 or 2 of the tables that I did pick out, unfortunately, has some sexist humor. Which is unfortunate because it's actually a really good table. Gorby actually just died last year, spent all the 80s, 90s as a pop culture icon. Also hi. Hello, Jazal of the Wicked. I think I pronounced that weirdly. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, one of the tables that I wasn't able to get in this... Oh, thank you for the follow, by the way. God! I looked away. One of the tables that I was not able to purchase in this before it left, but I later got in Pinball FX 3, was Red and Ted's Roadshow, which unfortunately has a very tasteless stereotype of New York taxi drivers, or just taxi drivers in general. Because if you can think of the one kind of accent anyone would pick for a taxi driver if they can't have any kind of originality, it's that accent. Which is kind of what I'm getting at. It's a stereotype of its time that was kind of acceptable at the time. Not really. But like I said, I wasn't able to actually buy the table, so we thankfully won't see that. Top 5 pins are Taxi, Teed-Off, Funhouse, Pinbot, Arabian Nights. Those are some good tables. Middle Eastern or Indian? Oh wait, if you're lazy, it's the same accent. Yeah, see, exactly. If you're lazy, it's the same accent. Because most people wouldn't even know the difference. But it was the 90s, it was kind of a Wild West and that stuff. My top 5 pins, if I can have a moment to think. Call me predictable, but the Addams Family is one of them. It's just genuinely a good table. Addams Family, Safecracker, which is actually my all-time favorite. Starship Troopers, Space Shuttle, and what will the 5th one be? Probably Ripley's Believe It or Not, actually. Safecracker is my favorite because that's one of the only ones I've actually played in real life. And I had a blast with it. I didn't earn one of the tokens. What's next? Bonsai Run. Okay, we're getting into the cool tables now. I chose Bonsai Run for one reason and one reason only. Williams, 1988. Have a gander at that back glass. That is a playing field on the back glass. That's right, this is one of the only tables that I'm aware of, at least, where the back glass is part of the pinball action. It's not a board game like Safecracker. It's not a spinning wheel like one of the Elvira tables. I forget which one. It's not a weird quick draw minigame like Lights, Camera, Action. It is an honest-to-God playing field. A vertical one. And it's so goddamn cool. For me, it's a tie between Teed-Off and Taxi for number 1. Circus Voltaire. Did Circus Voltaire have one? It did have the spinning thing in the center, I think. Bonsai Run is a neat classic table made by Williams. This was the first table designed by the legendary Pat Lawler, remember that name, with art by Mark Sprenger. Originally destined to be made as Wrecking Ball, this table features a second playfield built into the back box. Back box, that's what it is. The Bonsai Hill Run. Run the race and pass the other riders to start multi-ball and become the king of the hill. Shoot the ramp to score big by crossing the finish line. Now, for the first time, there's a whole new direction for pinball. Up. Only 1,751 units were produced. Just a spinning thing.
Welcome, race fans, to Bonsai Run!
This is one of my favorite tables. I love this table. Also, I love the song for it. We get some jammers in the chat.
He's Talon Green Machine.
Chat. Oh. Wow. Alright. Again, not the best at pinball. I am no master. But I am better at it than most people. There are a couple options for pinball arcades in Chicago and near Chicago. I would love to visit them. There's one in Logan Park called Logan Arcade, which I've had my eye on for a few years. I would really love to visit it someday. I think they actually have Black Knight 2000. Also, look at this. This is so cool. I love it. Yeah, I lost the wall. Chat. I shouldn't have looked at chat. Did you know pinball was illegal for a period of time? Yes, I actually have read about what happened with that. It was considered illegal because people were convinced that children were being scammed out of their money because there was a belief that pinball was a game of luck. I don't remember when it was made legal again, but a dude went to court with a fucking pinball machine, a whole ass pinball machine, and said, "Look at me. I am going to show you this is a game of skill." He would call out where he would hit the ball and hit it in that spot consistently, and essentially won the case for pinball. And then admitted in an interview that he was sweating nervously because some of those shots were actually luck. That's what the movie Pinball the Man Who Saved the Game is about? Okay, yeah, I definitely need to look that up. Also, fun fact, one of the tables we'll be getting to later, Attack from Mars, was actually featured in the 8th episode of The Last of Us TV show, Left Behind, when they go to the mall. The sole pinball table they focus on is an honest-to-God Attack from Mars table. Which I thought was really funny. It was also unusually clean. Probably because they couldn't just dirty the tables since they were real. Alright, in the essence of time, I'm not going to give that a replay. Because we're already about halfway through stream. So I need to move on. Because I'm not even halfway through the list, I think. That was the 7th episode. Huh? Oh! Yeah, I think you're right. Oh. I remember what the 8th episode was. That was the one with David, wasn't it? Alright. Now we're going to do TX Sector, which, for some reason, is listed before the other T tables. Gottlieb, 1988. Now, I'm going to be honest, I really only included this table because I think it's pretty nifty. This table uses captive balls in certain spots, so when you hit a hole, the ball comes out in the opposite end of the table to make it look like the ball teleported. It's actually really cool. It's not like a groundbreaking table, but it is cool. And I picked this to showcase some of the more creative effects that pinball tables got. Top 5 are No Good Gophers, Circus Voltaire, Black Knight 2000, Haunted House, and Winter Sport. Those are some good choices. TX Sector is a highly collectible table from Gottlieb designed by John Trudeau. I'm butchering these names. Constantino Mitchell, and Janine Mitchell. The back box features a combination of hand-drawn art and photography, as well as a scoreboard that is positioned over the back glass to increase its visibility to others. The playfield shows off strikingly lit ramps and a curving plunger habit trail for exciting gameplay. Using staged captive balls, the game teleports balls across the table during gameplay for added attraction. Only 2,336 units of this table were produced. So I say, I'm not losing a ball this early. I refuse. Like I said, the sci-fi tables always make me think of Space Cadet Pinball, which I spent a lot of time playing as a kid. So I will always like the sci-fi tables. Yep, the ball teleported. See that? Attack from Mars is a great table, and thankfully I'm one of the few people that's been lucky enough to have played its Revenge from Mars which was a Pinball 2000 table. I've heard of Revenge from Mars. It's sequel table. Okay.
Reintegration complete.
Yeah, I saw a post about that on Facebook. I think Galloping Ghost Pinball in Brookfield actually has Revenge from Mars. Because one of the pinball arcades I wanted to go to is called Galloping Ghost Pinball, which is in Brookfield, Illinois, which is a little ways south of Chicago. It's actually the sister location to Galloping Ghost Arcade, which has, I think, at this point, over 1,000 arcade machines. If you can think of an arcade game, they probably own it. They probably repaired it and refurbished it themselves, as a matter of fact. They bought the business next door after it moved out and opened it as a sister location called Galloping Ghost Pinball, and had been building a collection of pinball tables. The last I checked a few years ago, they had about 40 pinball tables. Including, if I'm not mistaken, Baby Pac-Man. Can't wait to go to Galloping Ghost. I'm looking forward to it so much. Just looking on my bucket list of places to go. I've been there twice. I wanted to go back. I have not been to the pinball place lot. Yeah. Beta Pop. Beta Pop. Thank you for the follow. Welcome on in. Glad to see you. We're doing a pinball history lesson. I think we're close to 60 pins now. Nice. Yeah, Galloping Ghost is basically trying to finish what Farsight started, even though it's not digitized. Because Galloping Ghost is also like a museum of arcade machines, which is a lost art. Nobody cares about arcades anymore, because they're not profitable. Oh, I broke 1,000,000 points. By the way, I personally think I should be legally allowed to smack children being rough with the machines at arcades. I think that should be legal. For legal reasons, I am joking. And I'm not actually suggesting that. But when I last went to Galloping Ghost Arcade, there was a kid being really rough with the House of the Dead machine, where to reload, he would smack the gun against the side of the cabinet. And, needless to say, I really wanted to say some things that would have gotten me kicked out. To that kid. I agree with that statement, but I know legally we can't do such things. Yeah, like, I am against violence against children, however, some kids really need to learn to respect things. Because respect is something that a lot of kids don't really have. And this is why I'll never be a parent. I hate children who don't take care of video games. Yes, exactly. My grandma once was going to have someone visit her with their kids, and she asked me if she could borrow my PS2 and some games for the kids to have something to do, and I outright refused. She tried to bribe me and got angry when I stood my ground. I am a collector. My video games are not toys. They are my prized possessions. I am taking care of them as best I can. I am not going to let some snot-nosed brat get their grubby little hands in my games and break things or ruin them, because I know they don't care. Especially someone I don't even know. I don't know that woman that she was going to have visit. I don't want to know her for reasons that I don't want to get into here. It's family-related reasons, and it's really none of you guys' business, but I'm going to leave it at that. I didn't want to meet him. I didn't want to meet her kids. I didn't want her kids touching my stuff. I stood my ground, my grandma got angry, and I left. When you're in a place like that, you should absolutely be treating that stuff with respect. There's not much of it, and it's a struggling industry. Just keep on what might be out there alive. This is why game preservation is an absolute must in animation or emulation as well. Yes, exactly. Also, Peridot, I gotta say, it sounds like you're having a night that I have often where I just can't fucking spell to save my life. Normally, I can't speak to save my life. If you come to my streams more often, you're gonna hear me stumble over my words on a regular basis. Finally, we get to this table. I skipped a slot. Actually, hold on. Taxi! Someone said it was their favorite. I think it was Peridot. Williams Table from 1988. This is one of the tables that might have a questionable sense of humor with Gorbachev. It also features Pinbot. I chose this table as an example of pinball comedy, because from this point onward, a lot of pinball tables started trying to be funny, and especially the licensed tables would try to be silly with the license. We're going to get to a point with Star Trek The Next Generation where you get to hear Brent Spiner as Data from the show say, "Captain, I believe Locke is lit," which is one of the funniest things I've ever heard a Star Trek character say. Struggle with spelling and stuff, so I rely on text-to-speech, which is always changing things, making me sound even more dumb than I really am. And, I mean, if it makes you feel any better, Shakespeare never spelled his name the same way twice. We actually don't know how Shakespeare spelled his name, because he never spelled it the same. He never spelled anything the same. The whole point was that he got his message out. The name, or the spelling of Shakespeare, is what people agreed it was, not what it actually was, because we don't know. Because he could not spell it consistently to save his life. As long as your message gets out, and people can understand you, it doesn't matter if you screw up or can't spell. And I mean, if you stick around for my streams later on, you will see that I stumble over my words all the time. I know I'm smart. Do you guys have any idea how smart I am in my head? Sometimes, though, shit just tumbles out. There's nothing you can do about it. Taxi. This is another classic game designed by Mark Ritchie and Python Angelo. Players are given the role of being a taxi driver who must pick up a crazy cast of characters, including former USSR leader Mikhail Gorbachev, Gorby, Santa Claus, Dracula, Lola, and Pinbot. In addition to its fun theme and clearly presented objectives, the game features non-stop action, a taxi meter, fast figure-8 ramps, and an exciting spin-out skill shot. Interesting, it does not include how many were sold or produced. This table was also included in Pinball Hall of Fame, the Williams Collection. Jet. I tend to fail at this table a lot. Ooh, I'm getting hungry. I'm gonna have to... That's fine. I'm gonna have to, figure out something for food later. I didn't really have a proper supper. I was just finishing off my lunch earlier, so... Okay, I got distracted by the yell. I might rerun this, because this is going by a little quicker than I'd like it to. I haven't even gotten to the part of the table where you can do things. If you get really good with the nudge, you can glitch the skill shot. I'll have to practice that.
Hey, on that taxi!
Not quite where I want to go. Yeah, like I said earlier, I will be forever kicking myself for not buying the tables as they came out. Because some of the better Williams and Bally tables ended up in Zen Studios, or Pinball FX 3, which I own there, but I kind of wish I could have had them in Pinball Arcade, so I could actually, support a good fucking company. Because Farsight died a hero, while Zen Studios lived long enough to become the villain.
Hey, on that taxi! Look out!
Fuck. It's not like you could have had any insight licenses were going to disappear. No, I couldn't have. Yeah, I just wish I could go back in time and have bought those tables as they came out. Hindsight vision is 20/20, as they say. All right. Unfortunately, for the essence of time, I am going to move on. But I highly recommend one of y'all play this table better than I do, because that is a good table. Oh no, if I actually finish early, I might be able to show off some extra tables. All right, this is one of my favorites. Williams, 1989, Black Knight 2000.
Black Knight.
You like looking at Hinds, is that what I heard? Well, I mean, sorrow, if it's your hind, that's always nice to look at. Yeah, I have as many of the legit tables as I can get, and I know the rest, I hate to say it, but I have non-legit copies just because I really wanted the tables. Hey, I mean, it beats giving Zen... it beats giving Zen Studios the money. Oh, wait! They never added the tables, so you can't. Zen. Black Knight 2000. The Black Knight rides again in this brilliant sequel to the Steve Ritchie hit from 1980. Players take on the role of good versus evil as they battle the Black Knight in high-velocity gameplay. The game is all about speed and quick reactions, highlighted by features such as an upper and lower level, repeating U-turn and skyway loop shots, rewarding accurate shooters, and a drawbridge that lowers the revealable ramp. The patented Magna Save feature from the original game is back. This allows players to activate a ball-saving magnet, preventing balls from draining. Great scores are achieved by collecting Lightning Wheel awards, scoring hurry-up bonuses, and playing the 3 awesome multi-ball rounds, including the King's Ransom Wizard mode. 5,703 units of this table were produced. So the song hasn't kicked in yet, but it's one of the best fucking songs in pinball history. Arguably just a good gaming song all around. And I need to stress, one of the composers and sound designers for this table you might recognize as the toasty guy from Mortal Kombat, because it's Dan Forden.
I am the Black Knight.
Get some jammers out. Fortunately, I had to turn the volume down, but you know, I was just saying that. I love how the text for the lightning wheel comes together like that. It's so cool. Because it's not a glitch. That's intentional. God, that's such a cool effect. What? Alright, it's fine. God, I might actually have to cook something after stream. I'm quite hungry. Hell yeah! By the way, I literally downloaded the song for this table for my stream playlist, along with one of the songs for Bonsai Run and the Addams Family, because they're just really that good. Oh. I don't know how to do the Magna Save. You remember actually playing this IRL? Cool. This is a good fucking table. The only thing that kind of sucks about Farsight Studios and Pinball Arcade is if you want cabinet mode, you have to pay a lot of money for it, and not all tables are supported. Yeah. Like, I am not going to pretend that Farsight and Pinball Arcade are perfect, because they are not perfect. But they had a goal in mind to preserve pinball that Zen Studios just does not have. So I am willing to forgive the problems with Farsight and Pinball Arcade, because there are a lot of problems with Pinball Arcade. It's a very buggy game, the UI is dog shit, and the physics are weird. But they were shooting for something different than Zen Studios with much less money behind them. So it's a shame what happened, because Farsight possibly could have gotten better. But they never got the chance because they've been fucking dead since 2018. They haven't updated this game in 5 years. They could get more Stern tables. Stern is still making pinball tables. They actually recently released a Godzilla table, I think. No, it was a TMNT one and James Bond. Those just came out. I would love to play them in this. I installed this on my Steam Deck so I could play these tables on the go, because a lot of these aren't in the Switch version, since the Switch version came out right when they lost the license. I would love to play Stern tables, like some of the new ones. Unfortunately, the Stern tables that are in this, the new ones, crashed the game, so I can't actually show them off today. Not for very long. The physics in this have come a long way since the PS2 days. Yes, I've actually played the PSP version of the Gottlieb collection, and I had the 3DS version of the Williams collection at some point. Both of them had even worse physics than this, but this is better. And I'm gonna be honest, playing Pinball FX 3 made me better at this game. And playing this made me worse at Pinball FX 3. It's a very funny dynamic. So the best thing that Zen Studios has ever done for me is make me better at Pinball Arcade, and I just lost 2 of the balls instantly. Pinball is a little bit of luck. Sometimes the odds just aren't in your favor. Have much. Oh my god, I had an itch on my nose. I like how the text even on the counting is screwed up. Oh wow, I was so delayed for that. I'm still on ball 1. Oh, it's the extra ball. You got the power. You got the might. You're ready for battle. Beat the Black Knight. God, I'm actually getting okay, I'm either getting goosebumps because of the song or the fact that my fan just blew air on me. I'm not sure which. I might have to go a little late tonight. Oh, another ball. We're actually on this table for a lot longer than we have been for the other ones. Because this is actually one of the tables that I'm reasonably good at because I play it so fucking much. This is one of my favorite tables. Also, this is not in Pinball Effects. This is like one of the most iconic pinball tables ever made. If you're actually a pinball fanatic. And it's not in Pinball Effects yet. They added fucking Hurricane before this, and Hurricane is one of my least favorite pinball tables ever. I hate that table. When I streamed Pinball FX 3 in August, I played that table and quote-unquote accidentally let my balls drain so I could move on because I didn't want to do it. I really do not like Hurricane. I don't like carnivals all that much. It's a carnival thing. Then again, I don't like Circuses either, and Circus Voltaire is one of my favorite tables. That one's a goddamn classic. I don't know how to climb the hurry up on board. I'm going to be real with y'all. Shit. A good score. This is actually not my highest score either. Can't check the high scores yet. It's the only thing I can say about FX versions of the tables. The physics are amazing and super realistic, but that still doesn't forgive all the other nonsense they have, especially with the newest release. Plus, I've heard nothing but bad things about the newest Pinball FX struggling with the Unreal Engine lagging tables and whatnot. Oh, do you want to know what is wrong with Pinball FX? Because I could spend another 30 minutes going on about what's wrong with Pinball FX. First, you start the game, you get the Pinball Pass immediately. You don't even get a choice, which means you only have a day to actually play the tables for free. You don't even get all the tables. None of the Marvel tables are included, for one thing. None of the Star Wars tables are included. I played it on the Steam Deck, And out of curiosity, when I noticed the game was lagging, I decided to check what the CPU and GPU usage was. Pinball FX 3, number one, sorry, not FX 3, Pinball FX. Number one, it takes up 32 gig compared to the 19 for Pinball FX 3. Used up 93% of my GPU and 33% of my CPU. All the tables were buggy. Every single tab in the menu had its own tutorial, a completely pointless tutorial, because I know how to fucking use a menu. I've been playing video games for 20 years. None of the tables were in any conceivable order, just release order, and some of them didn't even feel like they were in release order. You can't alphabetize them. I unlocked 2 achievements for tables I didn't even play. Somehow. And when I opened Addams Family, one of the first things that happened was a ball passing through one of the flippers. It is such a shitty, sloppy pinball game from a company that literally is only known for its pinball games. It is inexcusable and it is embarrassing that a company like Zen Studios, which literally named a pinball series after itself at one point, came out with such a sloppy mess. And again, Pinball Arcade is not perfect. I have been pointing out all the glitches. It is held together by chewing gum and duct tape, and it still plays better than a 2023 release from a company that literally does nothing other than make pinball games and Castle Storm. The Crypt of the Necrodancer pinball is not good. I've seen screenshots of it. It looks like a mess of a table. Half of it doesn't even look like a pinball table. The only 2 tables I want from the new Pinball FX is Snoopy and the MLP one, but unfortunately they will never come to FX3. Yeah, I mean, if this was 8 years ago, maybe I would have gotten the MLP table, but I have since disassociated from the Brony fandom. I still consider myself a fan of Friendship is Magic, but I no longer associate with Bronies. No offense. I'm sure if you're still a Brony that you're one of the good ones, but the fandom had a political problem in the sense that there was a rather notable bad political group that took root in the fandom due to its roots on 4chan, and nothing was done about that for several years until it finally became a problem in like 2018 or something. So yeah, I don't want to say what group it is because I am trying to lessen how much I talk about political stuff, but you can probably figure it out since I mentioned 4chan. It's not good. And that was just allowed to fester. Because nobody did anything about it, because, haha, they're just joking, you're just too sensitive. No. I'm not. I'm not stupid, is what I am. Anyways, back to the pinball. Also, yes, if you're new here, be prepared for tangents. I am a person who is very boring in real life. I don't play extreme sports. I don't play any sports. I don't really play an instrument. I don't go hiking. I don't go camping. I don't travel much. I don't watch popular shows. I don't listen to popular music most of the time, though that's kind of unintentional. I don't draw. I technically don't write, even though I'm trying to. I don't listen to podcasts. I don't watch reality TV. I don't watch any TV, as a matter of fact. I don't have any of the major streaming services. I just kind of play video games and pinball and whatnot. But I have knowledge of the most random bullshit you can think of. There is no telling what knowledge I have. Because I just know random things. I have an encyclopedic knowledge of the most useless information imaginable. For example, Weird Al Yankovic has a valedictorian in architecture because before he became a musician, he was going to be an architect. That's right. Weird Al decided that if music didn't work out, he would be an architect. Imagine that universe. Same love? See, that's why I love you, Sorrow. For those who are new, Sorrow is my girlfriend. We've been together for 10 years, actually, this July. June. June. When to mention Ed Boon worked on Black Knight 2000. That does not surprise me in the slightest. Supplies? Did I say supplies? I think I need more Thai iced tea. I fucking love Thai iced tea. Alright, what's next? Funhouse. 1990. We were in the 90s. I was thinking that Tony Hawk appeared in a Weird Al Yankovic clip. He did? Wait. Have I seen that? I am a massive... Oh. Fuck, I forgot to read the history again. I am a massive Weird Al fan. I don't think I remember that. Yes, it's a good table. This is a really good one. Funhouse was designed by the legendary Pat Lawler and is one of the most popular and iconic pinball classics of all time. Rudy is the star of this table. His talking animatronic head responds in real time to game events. This includes taunting the player and following the ball with his eyes. Rudy even gives each player a nickname such as Chucky, Spunky, Bucko, and Slick for the duration of the game. The player's primary goal is to advance the clock to midnight so that Rudy falls asleep. While Rudy snores, shooting a ball into his open mouth starts 3-ball multi-ball and the potential for million-plus scoring. 10,750 units of this table were produced. Yankovic didn't remember that Tony Hawk was in it. My god, Tony Hawk cannot catch a break. He is such a generic white man that nobody recognizes him, even people who are aware of his existence. They'll see his name and go, "Oh, Tony Hawk? Just like the skater, yeah?" And he's like, "Yeah. Yeah, just like the skater." I wonder what Tony Hawk's up to right now. I wonder the same. Yeah. Imagine a horror game with Rudy. The horror game is called Funhouse. I am just going to come out right now. I am terrible at this table. I say as I get a cool shot. I don't know what's up with this table in Pinball FX3, but I feel like somehow the physics are actually worse in Pinball FX3 for this table. Because I can score high in Pinball Arcade, but not Pinball FX3 for this one. Hey, Rudy's hideout.
That was no accident. You're making me very unhappy.
Did I get through his mouth when... Wait, that has to be a glitch.
I'm not happy with you now.
What happened? Did I go through his mouth?
Quit playing with the clock.
Yeah, this is a fucking classic table, by the way, if I haven't said it already. Like, it may be cliche to say your favorite pinball table is going to be one of the big Williams or Bally tables, but that's the thing. They just really are good. Like, Addams Family is considered to be one of the best pinball tables of all time, so it may be cliche to mention it, but it's just genuinely a good table.
I'm not happy with you.
Williams and Bally were the masters of the craft. I love some of the more modern Stern tables, but they still don't even hold a candle to stuff like this.
Oh no.
I really wish I could play the modern Stern tables, by the way. I can play them in the Switch version, which I can stream. The problem is I can't disable the menu music in the Switch version because there's no sound menu. And I would just get DMCA'd unless I can get through the main menu really quickly. For a later stream, if I have time after a Switch game, I can see about maybe showing off the Stern tables. But I can't guarantee it. It's worth noting that only the PC version actually has Whoa Nelly and Big Buck Hunter Pro, but that's fine because those tables fucking suck. Also, just want to mention something. Whoa Nelly Big Juicy Melons is one of the most tasteless pinball tables I've ever seen. It is so sexist. It represents a bit of a problem with pinball culture in general. Thankfully, I can't actually play it in this version because for whatever reason on the Steam Deck, that table crashes along with the other tables that were pulled from Stern Pinball Arcade. Like Ghostbusters, Star Trek, Mustang, and Big Buck Hunter Pro. Which sucks because most of the others are good. Big Buck Hunter Pro can also just eat a dick because it's not a very good table.
Hey, Biff, there's an extra ball. It's lunchtime. Get yourself a hot dog.
Shit! Wait, what's my score?
Shoot again, Biff.
God damn it. I'm still on ball 1? Not anymore. Holy shit, I don't think I've gotten a score this high in a while. Amy didn't remember that Tony Hawk was in it. Oh, I already read that. Anyways, I wish I could stick around longer, but sadly it's time for me to take my leave. But that's for the stream. It's been a blast. Thanks for the stream. It's been a blast. You have a great rest of your stream. All right. Thank you for coming in, Peridot. I hope you come back. And maybe I can have some more pinball streams at a later point. So pissed about Activision did after Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. Yeah. Same. And I've never even played Pro Skater. I have never played a Tony Hawk game.
Great shot, Biff.
And I got another extra ball.
Heads up.
I think I told you this, Toxic, the other day, but one of the last times I was playing this, I forget what table it was, but from the same end of round bonus, I got 2 extra balls. Genuinely don't remember what table it was. Oops, there goes the ball.
I feel like a million.
Yeah, there goes the other one.
Hey, Biff,
I'm gonna
shoot
break
again.
something. Also, this is probably the most fun stream I've ever done.
I'll play on the steps.
I'm just gonna say that. This is the most fun I've ever had streaming. Because I get to show you guys something I'm really passionate about that most other streamers wouldn't necessarily show. Because I get to teach people about pinball. I get to show off an avenue of gaming that's almost always ignored by everyone else. One that's very difficult to show off in its real form. It's because, how the fuck are you going to record a pinball table? Theater of Magic? Yeah, it was Theater of Magic, that's right. Yeah, thank you.
No accident.
Which, unfortunately, I'm not including as part of this thing. I obviously have the table because I was playing on it in this when I told you that.
I'm not happy with you now.
But I chose not to include it. I was trying to focus on notable tables or ones with firsts as best I could. And there's a lot of tables to choose from, so there's a lot that I wasn't able to show. Or wouldn't be able to show. And there's a couple, like I said, I literally can't because if I do, they just crash the game. First introduction to pinball was a shitty shovelware PC game. Mine was Kirby's Dream Land on Game Boy. Or Kirby's Pinball Land on Game Boy. That's another extra ball.
I'm not hungry.
Black.
I'm not happy with you now. Gangway!
It's really not fair that Pinball Effects 3 has to be the better pinball game. It's not fair. Nobody should be giving Zen their money, but it's the better game. And I hate that.
You're making me very unhappy.
Is this gonna be my brain? Oh my god, I have over 12 million. What the fuck is going on? That's another. That's another extra ball. I have 2 extra balls.
I'm not happy with you now.
We're gonna be here forever. The ride never ends.
Stay away from the clock. You're making me very unhappy. Oh no. Oh, I'm so sleepy.
Shit. Come on. Go down to the left. No. Come on. I was gonna shoot out the other side. There we go. Oh, you remember how I mentioned that pinball tables break down? Imagine what hell it must be to upkeep Rudy's head. Mole preservation is important. Tables like this are very easy to break down because there's so many moving parts. So many things that can just break randomly just after regular use. But with digital pinball, that doesn't happen. The tables are always as they were when they were made. Unless they get updated. I think I still have the 2 extra balls, though.
Shoot again.
Christ, I have 20 million.
Go play on the steps.
I still have another extra ball. Beat your highest score. Maybe the shovelware were so generic that I couldn't find an ISO online. Had to buy a physical copy. Flipper 3D. That sounds generic. Yeah, unfortunately I'm not logged in, so I don't think my score would actually be shown to other friends. Oh, there's the bandit. For those who are new, I have a pet bird named Bandit. You can actually see him in the bottom left corner. He's a rose-breasted galah, also known as a cockatoo, rose-breasted cockatoo, also known as a galah. He is very cute and very precious. He's basically the living embodiment of I'm Baby. He's also a colossal dumbass. He can say peekaboo, hi Bandit, hi, you're so cute, what's happening, or what's going on, it's okay. He also has a decent enough understanding of what the things he says means. There was one time where we had a squirrel get in the house and I was very clearly distraught trying to keep the door closed, and Bandit saw what I was doing, saw how I was acting, and he said, it's okay. Whenever Peaches, the other bird, freaks out, Bandit will go, it's okay. It's very cute. Good fucking god, that's a high score.
Way to go, Biff.
That's only high score 2?
Good night, Biff.
Oh my god, I've actually gotten a similar high score before. Holy shit. It was only a different. That wasn't that high of a difference. Alright. Funhouse. What's next? Alright. Ooh, well, I have enough time for the rest of the tables, is the question. Up next, the Phantom of the Opera. Now that says Stern, but this is actually a Data East table, because Stern owns the rights to the Sega and Data East tables. See, it still says Data East in the scoreboard. Oh, hold on. I feel a burp coming. Yeah, good enough. Phantom of the Opera is based on a classic novel from Gaston Leroux. I am butchering that name. I apologize, I do not know how to pronounce French. Published in 1911. Designed by Joe Kamenkow and Ed Sebula, this game makes excellent use of its license with outstanding audio effects and imagery that tells the story of the Phantom. Ugh, excuse me. There we go. The playfield features incredible artwork by world-renowned artist Paul Ferris, with images of many of the characters from the novel, including the Phantom and Christine Day. Other notable features are the catwalk ramp, a magic mirror, trapdoor, and an organ that opens for a multi-ball. The Phantom can even be unmasked and its true face revealed on the back glass. 2,750 units of this table were produced. So I chose to include this table because this is one of the only Data East tables in the collection. I think the only other one is Last Action Hero. So I wanted to include this to show off Data East tables, because between the two, I think this is the better of the table. The better of the two. You play this table at Nordic FuzzCon? That's cool. It's a pretty good table. I'm not very good at it. As you can see, we still have the alphanumeric displays. Not quite in dot matrix yet. Oh, but we're about to get there, because that's the next table. First dot matrix table ever, as a matter of fact. This isn't one of the more exciting tables, but it's a very cool table. I love the art for this table. I have seen a film version of the Phantom of the Opera from the Andrew Lloyd Webber play, I think it was. It's also got very clever use of the alphanumeric display. I especially like the match game at the end, with how they handle that. Oops. Remember the screen. Yeah, I have played Safecracker in real life. Unfortunately, I don't remember what other tables I played at the Hall of Fame in Vegas. I wasn't as good at pinball as I am now at the time, so I would really love to go back. I think it would be easier to just go to Logan Arcade or Galloping Ghost, though. That was ball 3. Okay. Watch the mesh screen here. I love this. It's so cool. It's a little thing. It's just a little thing. But it's so cool. Oh, I actually mashed. Holy shit, I actually mashed. Alright. You guys ready for the tables that you might be familiar with now? So I mentioned before, when we first started off with Central Park, that The Who was singing about a form of pinball that you guys might not be as familiar with, because they were singing about pinball in 1964, and the earliest table here, Central Park, which we saw, was 1966. Now, as we've been going through this, I've been doing these in release order, so we have seen the first talking table, talking heads, the first use of a license, which wasn't probably the Phantom of the Opera, but that was the first one that I played. We've seen Magnus saves. We've seen ramps, upper playing fields, lower playing fields, reverse playing fields, different styles of outlanes, lots of different things. But from here on out, pinball gets crazy. And we're starting with Terminator 2 Judgment Day, the first table with a dot matrix display.
Judgment Day.
This style of pinball is what you guys are probably most familiar with. This is when pinball took on a life of its own. This is the era that Zen Studios is pulling from the most, because it's the most recognizable, not necessarily the most needing to be preserved. Which, granted, all pinball should be preserved, honestly. But they are focusing on tables like this, especially because, hey, look, it's the Terminator. Don't you recognize that brand? We can add it to our universe of pinball. Whereas with Farsight Studios, who the fuck gives a shit about Last Action Hero? The game, or the film, only became a cult hit recently. Zen Studios doesn't, but Farsight did, because it didn't matter what the license was, it just mattered that the table was good. Terminator 2 Judgment Day is unquestionably one of the greatest pinball tables of all time. Designed by the legendary Steve Ritchie and based on the hit movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, it includes several features that have become pinball standards. Excuse me. It was the first Williams table designed to use a dot matrix display and the first to have a video mode feature. It was also the first to feature a swing-out cannon that can be fired by the player using a specially designed gun grip ball launcher. With its dramatic music score, staggering light and sound effects, and breathtaking graphics and speech from the one and only Arnold, this table brings the thrills and suspense of Terminator 2 to life, and then some. 15,202 units of this table were produced.
Judgment Day. Direct hit.
As much as I like some classic tables, this is pinball. We didn't even get to play all the ones I like. I haven't even shown the Space Shuttle. But this is basically the second half of the pinball history lesson, or the final third, more like. And these are all going to be dot matrix tables.
Take your best shot. Fire at will. You missed. Checkpoint
I
1
did miss.
secured. Take your best shot. Fire at will. Great shot.
Well, there goes one ball already. I haven't seen Terminator 2 in a while. I actually watched it a couple years ago, I think, for a film class, and there goes all my balls. Wonderful. Oh, gosh, my balls drained too quickly. How horrible.
Fire at will. Awesome. Lock sequence initiated. Passcode secured. Take your best shot.
You've never seen Terminator
Fire
in your
at
life?
will. Nice
Terminator 1 and 2 are masterpieces. You don't need to watch any of the others. Fun fact, Terminator 2, the evil Terminator in it, mimics a cop. That was an intentional choice by James Cameron, because the LA race riots had recently happened.
Take your best shot.
I have now realized that bringing that up, that Toxic might not know what the LA race riots were, but it was a nasty case of police brutality in the 90s.
Direct hit.
And with that fresh in everyone's mind, James Cameron intentionally made the evil Terminator a cop at the last minute, which is incredibly based of James Cameron. But yeah, definitely watch Terminator 1 and 2 if you ever get the chance, Toxic. They're very, very good films. The special effects of Terminator 2 have aged better than the first film. But the first film, you kind of need to watch it before you watch the second one.
Direct hit.
Jet. Oh, damn.
You are superior.
I forgot about that. That's the fucking trash compactor thing from the first film.
I'll be back.
Alright, what's next? Oh, boy. My brother, Zeno. Hold on, I'm sure I'll find it generic just because how many films would reference to Terminator. Yeah, there are so many references to Terminator, but it really does hold up. This is my opinion. This is widely regarded as the best pinball table ever made. Zeno, my brother, told me that one of his friends actually has a copy of this table in their basement. Look how long the text box is. The Addams family is considered by many to be the best pinball table of all time, which is backed up by the fact that it broke all previous sales records for flipper games. Based on the movie of the same name released in 1991, yes, this is based on the movie, not the show. This is a brilliant design from Pat Lawler and Larry DeMar. All the memorable characters and themes from the film are perfectly integrated into an incredible gameplay experience. Notable features include the first ever optical target bank, ball affecting magnets under the playfield, and the thing hand that comes out of its box to magnetically grab the ball. The Thing Flips is an exclusive Williams-Bally innovation. Using advanced artificial intelligence systems, the game learns to shoot the ball into the swamp from the upper left flipper. 20,270 units of this table were produced. That's a lot of tables.
Welcome, honored guest.
Old man.
This really is a good table, too. It's genuinely good.
Go, man.
Out to the cemetery. Come on, everybody.
Farsight actually went through a Kickstarter campaign to get this added to the game. Excuse me. And the funny thing is, when they got the rights to the table, they had to go through the rights of each of the actors individually, and for some reason, the estate of the guy who played Uncle Fester said no, so they actually had to change his face.
Knock 3 times.
Funny thing is, if I'm not mistaken, Uncle Fester was played by Christopher Lloyd, who was alive at the time of when Farsight was getting the rights. In fact, he is still alive. So why they needed to go through his estate instead of him is beyond me. Because he is very much still alive. Christopher Lloyd is more well known for playing Doc Brown in the Back to the Future trilogy. I don't know what else he's done. I've only seen him in Back to the Future and the Addams Family, because I've actually seen the 90s Addams Family movie, because my grandma owns it on VHS. It's actually a good film. By the way, if you guys ever think that there are so many adaptations of films nowadays, and sequels and whatnot, that's always been a thing. There was a Flintstones movie in the 90s which was so popular it spawned a since abandoned amusement park. And if I remember correctly, the now abandoned amusement park was the whole reason Defunct Land became a thing on YouTube. And pictures of people going to the park has actually spawned a lot of creepypastas, and I believe the creepypasta Abandoned by God, or Abandoned by Disney, is actually based on pictures of the Flintstones park, not anything by Disney. Also, if you didn't know, if an amusement park goes out of business, they don't really tear it down, they just leave it. So if you really want to creep yourself out, look up the Flintstones amusement park.
Go, man.
Because it's like looking at a liminal space. There's just something wrong about it. You never heard of the Flintstones amusement park? Yeah, I didn't until a few years ago when I got really into creepypastas very briefly. But, god damn it. Look it up sometime. It's unsettling. It's wrong to see an abandoned amusement park. God, I love the Addams Family theme. By the way, never, ever say, I wish I had a relationship like Harley and Joker. Harley Quinn was in a Stockholm Syndrome relationship with the Joker. He abused her. He hurt her and never cared about her. Instead, be like Gomez and Morticia Addams. They never fell out of love with each other, and they embrace each other's weirdness. They are so active in their kids' lives to a fault, and they care nothing more than making sure their family is happy. They're just weird. Be like Gomez and Morticia Addams. I don't know if Sorrow is still in chat, but I actually use them as a basis sometimes because they genuinely are the best fictional couple in TV history, in my opinion. Because they are one of the only couples that don't hate each other in a major sitcom. I think the Munsters, funnily enough, are actually another example where the couple doesn't hate each other. But think of how many American sitcoms there are. Do you see where the married couple hate each other's guts? Like The Honeymooners, which is an ancient show. But most of the jokes is just a husband threatening to hit the wife. There's a whole catchphrase for it, where he's just joking about domestic abuse. Married with Children, the husband and wife hate each other. Roseanne, the husband and wife hate each other. But not Gomez and Morticia Adams. Anyways, run for a weird one. So, there are 3 companies involved with Pinball Arcade that don't actually have their names attached to them correctly. Sega and Data East sold off their pinball divisions, and Stern ended up with the rights to them. There was another company called Alvin G & Co., which only made 8 tables. And I guess Gottlieb, or whoever owns the rights to Gottlieb now, has the rights to their tables. There are 2 Alvin G & Co. tables in this game. I chose what I think is the better of the 2. Al's Garage Band goes on a world tour. Note, this has nothing to do with Weird Al Yankovic. This is a different Al. This is a fake Al.
Calling the police!
Alvin G & Co. in 1992. I chose this to show Alvin G & Co. because I think this is the better of the 2 tables. The other table in the collection is Pistol Poker. Al's Garage Band Goes on a World Tour is a rockin' table with rad action features designed by Michael Gottlieb and Jerry Armstrong for Alvin G & Co., which was founded in 1991 by Alvin Gottlieb and closed in 1996 after producing 8 games. Note those last names. Al's Garage Band is a great example of the innovative tables the company produced. The table features the world's first spinning ramp, the CD ramp, and bump buttons, which were flipper buttons attached to a small coil to provide player feedback. Other features include the guitar mini playfield, feedback kicker, and music video mode. 1,000 units of this table were produced. Given how few tables were produced, you can probably imagine that Zen Studios would not care about something like this.
Introducing Al's Garage Band!
And yes, I'm going to take every opportunity I can to shit on Zen Studios. Because when it comes to pinball preservation, as we've established, Zen Studios does not care. They just want money. They want to build their brand. They don't care about preserving pinball history. Ball got stuck on the ramp. Amazing. I've never seen that before. This is a very creative table. Very creative. Very good use of the theme, too.
Record a song! Moscow.
Not one of my favorite tables, though. But it's very well done. I have never really listened to what I guess would be called garage band music, but my friend Dennis, who has been on stream a few times, he and his brother were in a punk band at one point. I think Dennis left the band, and then the band split up, and then his brother ended up going to a different band or something. I don't know if I want to name the band, because it might actually dox them, since they did put out a couple CDs. They were pretty good. Dennis was the drummer.
Stitchy! Lots of gig, man. Delmore!
I actually remember Dennis and his brother handing me a CD in an envelope that was really poorly recorded for when they were just starting out. And then when they later put out a proper album on Bandcamp, I just straight up paid for it.
Dr. Skin!
And since getting into VTubing and streaming, I've been keeping an eye out for indie content creators making music so I can support their music. Which I suppose would be kind of like garage bands.
Delmore!
Support indie musicians. They're putting out some good stuff. And that is actually reminding me that I need to get Shia Bun's cover of Genghis Khan and Nimene's cover of CPR. I've been meaning to buy those.
Oh, it's the band!
As you can see, pinball tables are getting more creative and crazy now since the 60s. And that's the specific reason why I chose to do this in release order, so that way you all could see pinball evolve as we go through the years. We're still in 92. We're not even at the end of the 90s yet.
Don't quit the day job, kiddo. Delmore! Dr. Skin! Tour again? Stitchy!
A ska cover of somebody that I used to know. I need to hear that. That sounds amazing.
Don't quit your day job,
Yeah,
kiddo.
I'm calling the police!
Alright, how many tables do we have left? About 13. Okay. I think I can do that in 30 minutes. So, I actually have no reason to highlight this table because I don't think it has anything truly notable for pinball history. But I just really like this table. Very, very good use of the license. Because I'm a bit of a fan of classic Doctor Who. I'll post a video after stream. Alright. Because I kind of grew up with classic Doctor Who because of my dad. Doctor Who is a unique table inspired by the longest-running science fiction TV show, Doctor Who. Featuring the original Doctor Who theme song, TARDIS, Doctors, Companions, and Villains from the series. Sorry, my mouth is full of stuff at the moment. This innovative game, designed by Barry Orsler and Bill... that guy, tasks the player with rescuing each of the original 7 Doctors from the Master, each one adding a new dimension to the rule set. Multiball is played via a 3-level time expander mini playfield that raises up to reveal more targets, allowing players to defeat Davros and his Daleks and restore Earth's time to normal. The Doctor is in. 7,752 units of this table were produced. So like I said, aside from that mini playing field thing in the back, there's nothing really truly notable about this table. It's just a really good table. You play this table IRL as well? I'm very jealous. Alright. We're starting with Tom Baker. Or the 4th Doctor. Because he's one of my favorites of the classics. When I first got introduced to Doctor Who, it was because of Tom Baker on PBS. Because PBS, which, for those who are not American, is the public broadcasting service, which is a TV network that is funded through mostly donations and government subsidiaries. It's not government owned, it's just publicly funded. And there was a period in the late 90s, early 2000s where they had a deal with BBC America to show British TV. They showed classic Doctor Who, Red Dwarf, Fawlty Towers, Monty Python, and a few others. That was before BBC America was introduced in the US, mind you. Now, Farsight Studios did actually make their own version of this table, because they had another Kickstarter campaign in order to get this license. And as part of it, they made an original table, which is probably the worst table in the collection. It's really just not good. And there's a reason why I chose not to highlight their version. Fun fact, the BBC does not actually own the rights to the Daleks. They have to, I think, pay a licensing fee anytime the Daleks are used. Because British copyright law is actually very weird when it comes to TV shows. Let's say, Toxic, you write for an episode of Doctor Who and you come up with some kind of chicken monster. No matter what the BBC does, they cannot use that chicken monster without getting permission from you first, because according to British copyright law, you wrote the monster, so you own it, not the BBC. As long as you are the one who conceived the monster, it doesn't matter what show it was used for, you're the one who owns the rights to it. Which is why some Doctor Who villains have never been seen again, because the guys who actually created them said no to them returning. Or their estates did. That's why in the second and third Doctor monster... I think it was second and third Doctor. Monsters, the Abominable Snowmen, which originally were more like Yetis, when they returned for new Doctor Who, they were literally snowmen because they didn't actually get the rights for the original monsters, even though the same villain from the episode appeared. Hey, Belle. Oh. Okay, I wasn't paying attention, so we lost Tom Baker, I guess. Yeah, it's a very interesting quirk with British copyright law. Unlike the US, the BBC is owned by the government, essentially, from what I know. Speaking of, slightly related to this, I'm gonna unpause as I say this, actually. Doctor Who is the longest running sci-fi show of all time, yeah? Yeah, super popular. One of the most beloved sci-fi shows of all time. One of the most influential and inspirational sci-fi shows of all time. One of the, like, if you're not even British, you know the name Doctor Who, right? The original film reels of Doctor Who were destroyed because the BBC needed to make space in a vault. And as they were destroying them, they were taking them and playing them over a screen and recording that with a video camera as a substitute, which were then subsequently also destroyed to make space. Eventually it was stopped due to the uproar, because they were doing that with a lot of shows. And some episodes are completely lost. There is one of the most important stories from the first Doctor, which is like a 12-part story of the Daleks chasing the Doctor through time. Only 2 episodes exist. So all the others were destroyed. So I just wanted to bring that up, for no reason in particular. Totally not related to preservation in any form whatsoever. Not related in the slightest. Anyways, I picked this table because it's a wide table. It's a 90s wide table.
Say
Judge
good
Dredd.
night, punk.
This is based on the comic, not the film. Judge Dredd was designed by John Trudeau and was part of the Williams Midway's Super Pin line of wide-body games. Based on the comic series 2000 AD, players take on the role of the most respected and feared lawman in Mega City 1, Judge Dredd. Their challenge is to patrol the streets while apprehending criminals and defending justice. The playfield is loaded with features, including the rotating Dead World planet, Excuse me. Okay. See, I didn't know that, though. The playfield is loaded with features, including the rotating Dead World planet, triple-deck wireform ramps, and a magnetic robotic arm that picks up the ball. This is the only Super Pin to feature Super Games, which are 4 additional multi-ball games that can be played with an additional credit. 6,990 units of this table were produced. I'm so glad that there are multiple ways of saying 6,900. I say multiple, but there's 2.
Lawmaster computer online. Welcome aboard.
So, A cab. Just want to throw that out there. But Judge Dredd gets a pass.
Don't move.
For now. We'll deal with him later.
Dread to control.
Now, no, I have never actually read Judge Dredd, but there is a game based on Judge Dredd called Dredd vs. Death that I've heard is actually really, really good. I've been wanting to play it. It's apparently on Steam. I might actually pick it up if I can get it running on the Steam Deck. If not, I was going to get the console version, if a port exists. I actually found out that the developer of Dredd vs. Death is actually the developer of Aliens vs. Predator Classic 2000, which is one of my brother's favorite old PC games.
Use fire button to launch ball. Sector house is destroyed.
I have a Judge Dredd shirt, but it's actually an Anthrax shirt because they did a song about Judge Dredd called "I Am the Law" on their album "Among the Living" in 1987.
Life
I'll have to listen to that. The only thing I know about the comic Judge Dredd, aside from the basic premise of what a judge is Dredd himself sleeps in blue polka dot-ish pajamas with his helmet on and with a teddy bear.
Battle tank sighted in Sector 6.
Also, in my personal opinion, Dredd should have been in Mortal Kombat 11 instead of Rambo, so they could have kept the comic theme. Dredd would have been awesome, from what I know. I still don't get why we got Rambo, of all people. RoboCop versus Judge Dredd. Yeah, see, that would have been fucking awesome. Imagine the banter between them, because they're both lawmen with very, very different takes on the law. Because from what I understand of Judge Dredd, Dredd is not just a lawman. He is the judge, jury, and executioner, and will decide on the fly if you get to live. Because from what I know, the world of 2000 AD is really fucked up, and they need people like Dredd on the streets. The LCD animations are gory, I like it. Yeah, I'm not actually paying attention to the dot matrix display, because it's a little hard to do that while I'm actively playing. But the Dredd comics, or 2000 AD as they're called, are very violent, and I know Dredd vs. Death is also very violent. And they were allowed to do whatever they wanted with the license. If I remember correctly, it's a post-apocalyptic with mutants and shit. Okay, yeah, so that checks out. You haven't read the comics yourself? I have not. The only comic series I actually was at all subscribed to was the Archie Sonic comics, which were actually pretty good, especially once Penders was kicked out. And I kind of wish that I had read other comics. I really want to get into Black Sad. I have the first graphic novel. I want to read Sin City, Scott Pilgrim, and a few others that I can't think of at the moment. Oh, I've heard The Goon is pretty good, which is a more recent comic series. One of the pages that I used to follow on Facebook was obsessed with The Goon. I don't know anything about it. He just posted comic pages from time to time. Want to read the newest Sonic comic? I mean the IDW one? I've heard it's pretty good. Read the boys. Alright. We still got a few tables left. We got about 10 tables left, starting with the next one. So I'm probably going to go a little late because I would like to finish off this list. Star Trek The Next Generation. My favorite licensed table in the collection. 1993 table from Williams. Oop. Hang on. Star Trek The Next Generation is another incredible design from Steve Ritchie. We've seen that name a lot. Based on the hit television series, it puts players in the role of an honorary Starfleet officer serving next to their favorite characters in the show. Features include 8 different USS Enterprise missions, many multi-ball modes, holodeck video modes, and opportunities to advance in rank. One unique feature is a patented below-the-playfield multiple ball delivery system, which results in continuous gameplay when balls on the playfield fall into a cellar hole. With its amazing feature set, custom speech by 8 original cast members, and the show's theme song and music, this table appeals to all players, but as a Star Trek fan's dream come true. Also, for those tuning in, I know the text is fucked up. I don't know why it's doing that.
Welcome to the Enterprise.
This is a fucking good table.
Enterprise, the Borg have entered Federation space. Intercept immediately. Admiral Biaggi out.
Course laid in, sir. Engage.
I need to watch more Star Trek next time.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
I've never watched much of it. I watched more of Babylon 5. I watched all of Babylon 5, actually. I watched all of The Expanse, and I was a big fan of Stargate SG-1 and Stargate Atlantis, but Next Gen was not something I watched much of.
Had you propelled the ball on the proper trajectory, you would have been rewarded.
I've seen a lot of the original Star Trek series, too. Space Cadet 2.
Launch of Class 1 probe.
The probe has discovered a lit extra ball.
I actually mentioned earlier in Stream Ball that I like this... God damn it. The sci-fi tables in this the most because they make me think of Space Cadet. My favorite sci-fi table, one of my favorite tables ever, is Space Shuttle, which I actually chose not to include.
Uranium spheres.
Because I wanted to highlight other tables. If we have time, which we probably won't, I may show Space Shuttle. Spike, do I like flying? Do you mean like being in an airplane? Do you mean like piloting an airplane? Because piloting, hell no. Being in an airplane, not really. I have been on a plane twice. I was on one on my trip to Vegas and then one on the way back.
Good luck.
I have never piloted an airplane. No, I haven't. I tried a flight simulator at the Museum of Science and Industry once, and I fucking panicked the moment the cabinet turned.
On screen. Magnify.
The kickback is ready.
I would not do well as a pilot. I would probably end up killing myself and the passenger very quickly, as a matter of fact. Given how badly I drive cars. I can't imagine it'd be any better as a pilot. That's unfortunate. We are running out of time though, so I do need to move on. How do the... Alright. What's next? Twilight Zone. A Bally table from 1993. This is another great table.
Crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Not a big fan of flying either, especially when the plane is too small. Twilight Zone is based on the TV series of the same name and is arguably the most popular and complex pinball machine ever made. After the commercial success of the Addams Family, Pat Lawler was given free rein to create this brilliantly designed table. When it was released, Twilight Zone had more features with patents pending than any other game in history. Among its notable features is a fully functional gumball machine, an analog clock that functions as a timer in various modes, industry-first MagnaFlip magnetic flippers, and a unique ceramic pinball called the Powerball. 15,235 units of this table were produced. Finally getting to the boba in my Thai iced tea. If you guys hear me start choking, it's because I swallowed a boba.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination.
So I want you guys know I am very bad at this table. I have seen a few episodes of The Twilight Zone. The most memorable episode I've seen, actually, is I Sing the Body Electric, which is one of the episodes written by Ray Bradbury, and it's also notable for being one of the worst episodes. Ray Bradbury is a very brilliant author whose choice of dialogue does not translate well to TV.
An opportunity awaits you in the form of an extra ball.
My sister used to work for an indie theater company that did a sort of parody of the Twilight Zone called Rezoned, where they did new versions of the... Ah, that's how it works. They did new versions of the Twilight Zone skits, and there's one famous episode of the Twilight Zone where aliens come to Earth. Whoops. And they announce that they have come in peace to solve all of Earth's problems. They get rid of disease, they end wars, they make peace everlasting on Earth. And they have chosen select humans to come to their spaceship to learn their ways and go to their home planet. And it's revealed that the big book they have of how to solve Earth's problems is actually a cookbook, because they've been cooking humans. And in Rezoned, the Twilight Zone parody, it's not a cookbook, it's dance choreography. So it turns into a really silly dance number. But, as stupid as that sounds, it was actually really good.
Beyond this door is a dimension of sight.
And one of the parodies was replacing one of the characters from one of the original stories with the Joker, because it was about Batman instead of the original characters. I don't remember what story that was based on, though. Very bad at this table, so I guess we'll see you choking in another way. Yeah, shut up. Funnily enough, it would still involve balls. It would just be pinballs instead of tapioca balls. Swear to God, if I'm gonna get a high score for this. I've got balls of steel. There is actually a Duke Nukem pinball game called Balls of Steel. I've heard it's very bad. It's on GOG. I've not heard very good things about it. You can play it in Duke Nukem Forever. Yeah, but that would require playing Duke Nukem Forever. You want to try it? I actually do too, even though it's supposed to be bad. I just like pinball.
Player 1.
Bad pinball can still be fun as long as the physics actually
work.
work.
Game or an ordinary player.
It's not that bad, said a filthy liar. It's a different table and took me forever. Okay. Alright. Here we go. Attack from Mars. This table is notable recently for making a cameo in the Last of Us TV show episode Left Behind. Attack from Mars was designed by Brian Eddy, who also designed Medieval Madness. Excuse me. And programmed the software for tables such as Funhouse and the Machine Bride of Pinbot. An army of Martians is attacking Earth, and it's the player's job to defend it. With its open playfield and easy-to-understand rules, this table is a blast to play. Features include a moving flying saucer in the middle of the playfield, dancing Martians, and a functioning strobe light. A common misperception about Attack from Mars is that it was inspired by the movie Mars Attacks, which was released in 1996. It's a coincidence that the movie and this table were released within a year of each other. 3,450 units of this table were produced. Mars Attacks, by the way, is actually really funny. Is it still on GOG? I don't know. Maybe it's not. Now, I need to point out something here. Notice the number of digits. The high scores here are not in the 100 millions. They are in the billions. 1 billion points is a low score on this table. Keep in mind, the first table I showed didn't go any higher than 1,999, and you could actually earn single-digit points. This is also one of my favorite tables. I am bad at this version of the table. I seem to be better at it in Pinball Arcade. By the way, be prepared to hear the worst French, British, and Italian accents you've ever heard in your life. If I can actually get those modes to play. Remember what I said about old stereotypes? Unfortunately, this is one of the tables, but I wanted to highlight it because 1 billion points is a low score on this. So I can actually activate the logo to do that. There we go.
The Brandenburger Tor is in danger.
Germany? I didn't know Germany was in this. Alright, so add the worst German accent you'll ever hear in your life.
Look out, Martians! Germany coming through! Use the atomic blaster, now! Well done, soldier!
Shit. Yeah, look at that. This would be a high score in some of the tables we've seen so far. This wouldn't even crack the top 4 high scores. But it makes you feel like you're doing well, even though you're not. Because I'm not doing well. Also, yeah, you need 4 billion to get the first extra ball from that.
Destroy the saucer!
How much does a more billion get you? The worst film of the year. Fun fact, the sequel to Shazam sold worse than Morbius. Just keep that in mind.
Germany is victorious!
I find it particularly amazing that DC keeps taking L's with its films. Who knows? Maybe, as painful as it is to say this, maybe James Gunn can actually do good work for DC's universe. I am kind of getting sick of cinematic universes,
We
though.
gotta save the Statue of Liberty!
Honestly, taking film classes made me realize just how annoying the MCU really is. And what Disney's doing with Star Wars and what Warner Brothers is doing with everything. Everything is a remake or an adaptation or tied to an old IP, and it's really obvious they're only doing it so they can keep the rights.
Get every available man. Watch out, man. They've got a big old beam. Somebody shoot one of those things. Whistles on standby.
We're gonna go a little late tonight, by the way.
Super jet! Jackpot! Blast the saucers!
It's alright. I kind of just accidentally started focusing too much. God, I was streaming. You know. I said I'm bad at this version. This is actually the best I've ever done in this version. I didn't necessarily lie to you, I just got good, I guess.
Destroy the saucer! Nobody messes with the
300 million just from that.
Go for the extra ball.
You cannot defeat our force field.
Ah, I forgot to pause. God damn it. I had an itch. I don't know why I just did that. Good God.
Extra ball!
Hey, what do you know?
Again.
I have never gotten a score this high before, by the way. I don't know what my highest score was in Pinball FX3. I did that on Switch, not Steam, so I can't actually show that high score. I just earned another extra ball. Let me hear the French accent. I haven't seen this in a while. Pulped that bitch. Whoa, woo, USA, USA. I'm trying to see if I get the French accent, but I think it's random what cities are picked. Normally I get Italy or France first, but we got Germany first this time.
Mamma mia! The Martians are strengthening the Tower of Pisa! What's the matter, you ugly Martian?
Pizza, pasta, put it in a box. Deliver it to my house and put it on my cock, my cock, my cock, my cock, my cock. Cheesy on my peenie and some salsa on my balls.
I busted your face, you ugly Martian!
Again, 90s. Just keep that in mind. Sorry, just fucking that. Yeah, club whatever you want, guys. As long as it won't get me in trouble.
Excellent!
I have to hold, show so much restraint to not just try to say I cooked the meatball in a really bad Italian accent. Listen, it's dated stereotypes, but I have been conditioned to make fun of Italians specifically because of how prominent Italians are in New York, even though I'm from Chicago. New York Italians aren't even real Italians, they're just from New
Blow the
York.
saucer out of the sky!
Italian Elon Musk. I sent the calzone into space. Hey, I don't pay the taxes. See, that's funny. Speaking of, shout out to Elon Musk putting out a bounty where if anyone can prove that they, or that his family had an emerald mine, Well, there's a French accent. You got your French accent, Toxic.
Shoot again!
Have you seen the Elon Musk Mario Kart skit? Why did you have to remind me of that? I have seen it. It is one of the most painfully unfunny things I have ever laid witness to. Musk is just desperate, and I mean desperately, trying to be hip and cool. And he is so pathetically uncool, it's almost funny on its own. If you have not seen it and you will not watch it, thank you. Don't. It's not worth it. Unless you specifically want to make fun of Elon Musk for not being funny, it is not worth watching. And even then, you still have to be subjected to his sense of humor. It is so pathetically bad. It is embarrassingly bad. And he thinks he's the funniest guy on the planet. Like, it's almost frustrating how funny he thinks he is. Because he is just not funny. He never has been. He is a dork-ass loser, and he will always be a dork-ass loser. Didn't sound like a French accent. That's because it's an American take on a French accent, Toxic. It's not actually how French people talk, and I'm sure you would know because you're actually French. It sounds like a guy doing a stereotypical Napoleon impression. Which is probably what they were going for. But, I mean, the Italian guy didn't even sound Italian. He sounded like Mario, or something, I guess. Except I don't think Mario was voiced at this time. What's next? Okay. In the essence of time, I am going to skip this table because I do a little too well in this table. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So I am going to skip it, because if we do this, I'm going to be here for like 10 fucking minutes. I am really good at this table. Unless you guys want to see it. Because we're already going late, but we are going to be extra late if I do this table. Have I seen Elon Musk video games? I don't think I want to. Do you guys think skip Frankenstein? Or do you guys want to see it? I'll play it if you want to see it. But it's just going to take more time before I end stream. Follow my heart. My heart says skip, because like I said, I am very good at this table. The last time I played this table, I was stuck there for almost 20 minutes trying to play it. I got a stupid high score. Okay, how about this? I will at least show the table.
Frankenstein!
You know what? Fuck it. I'm already going late. I'll play it. I'm going to play the table. It's a good table. This is a Sega table that is owned by Star. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is a deep and atmospheric table designed by John Borg. Excuse me. The Sega-produced table, released in 1995, features interesting modal gameplay, spectacular music, and a fully animated Frankenstein's monster that actually throws the balls across the playfield during multi-ball. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein was also one of the only pinball tables to use an oversized 192 by 64 pixel DMD. 3,000 units of this table were produced. This guy also make the Star Trek table? John Borg? Ha ha, funny reference. No. So this is another table where, whoops, hang on. Oh, the cursor was in the wrong spot. This is another one of those tables where, a billion is a low score. Kind of. You can easily get a billion if you're good enough. And I'm good enough. This is a really good table. I love the art for it. From what I know, the film is absolute trash. Also, a fun fact, this is currently the free table of the game. If you install the game for the first time, this will be the first table you own, because it's just straight up given to you. Previously, when Williams and Bally still had their tables in the game, it was Tales of the Arabian Nights, which I did actually pick out, because that's another one of the best tables ever made. I love the other music. I always just go for the film soundtrack. Because it's just what I'm used to picking.
It's alive.
Oops. I've never seen this film. I've actually read Frankenstein. It's actually a really good book, and it does actually hold up after all these years. So, funny story. When I was in grade school, like 5th or 6th grade, I was in the same classroom and had the same teacher for 5th and 6th grade. We had a little library in the back of the class. I went to a school which introduced a thing called DEAR, Drop Everything and Read, where we would be given time, like 45 minutes every day, to just read. No studying, no working, just reading whatever we wanted to read. And during that time, I would go through the library in my classroom, and I would pick out stuff to read. One of the things I found was a really cool graphic novel adaptation of Frankenstein. And I read that. And keep in mind, this is a graphic novel adaptation of the book. It has nothing to do with the film. So it actually had an accurate depiction of what the monster was supposed to be like. The monster, I already got mentioned ball, is not green. He doesn't have bolts in his neck, and he didn't really have the hair he has in the Universal Monsters film. The monster had brown, decaying flesh that was stitched together unnaturally. His flesh was partially decomposed, and his hair was very gross. It was filthy, it was mangled, and it was long. There is a particular scene in the graphic novel where he approaches Frankenstein with his face obscured by a shadow because they're in an alleyway. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because in 7th grade, when I went to a Catholic school, we read Frankenstein as part of the curriculum. And for our little project, we had to draw a picture of Frankenstein and the monster. I was the only one who drew the monster as he's described in the book because I had previously read the graphic novel, and I actually tried to recreate the scene I was talking about from memory. It wasn't really well drawn, but it was more haunting than what everyone else drew. Because everyone else drew the green monster. 2 people drew the monster twice because they didn't read the book and didn't know that Frankenstein was not the monster. Love that other music. I've seen The Son of Frankenstein, didn't like it. Do you mean Young Frankenstein? Because that's a classic. Can't read. Poor guy just needed a shower and a haircut. Show it to us. Oops. I don't have the picture anymore, unfortunately.
Electricity is the key.
Hello?
We need more power!
Oh, okay. I thought the table bugged. I wish I still had the picture, because it's one of the best things I ever drew as a teenager. Like, it wasn't a great drawing, but I actually understood the assignment, and that's another extra ball. Alright, Toxic, see ya. Yeah, we're going a little later than I had hoped I would. So, I have, I think, 3 extra balls at the moment. I think I'm on ball 2. This table just gives out extra balls like a motherfucker. Thanks, Toxic. I hope to see you again. If you want, you can catch the VOD tomorrow. I'll post it in my server. Alright, I'm on ball 3, and that's the extra ball. Son of Frankenstein is apparently the 3rd in the Universal Frankenstein series. Oh. Alright, that is... Okay, I didn't know that was a thing. I knew there was a Bride of Frankenstein. Which, by the way, has nothing to do with the novel. Because there was only one novel. There was no bride, there was no son.
Live again!
Bride of Frankenstein is the 2nd. I have seen the original Frankenstein. I I've seen Creature from the Black Lagoon. I don't think I've seen The Mummy. I've seen Dracula, and I've seen A Werewolf in London. Not a werewolf. Is it a werewolf? Wolfman, something like that. You don't know how related any of these movies are. Bride of Frankenstein is Frankenstein building a wife for the monster who suspiciously is sexy and talks like a normal person. Because God forbid they get an Unga Bunga woman to play her. And I didn't even know Son of Frankenstein existed. Remember, Dracula don't bite, it's scrape and lick. God, I'd forgotten about that. Shout out to Billy and Mandy. He got better at That's one way to think about it. Shout out to Billy and Mandy being a kid's show that really should not have been a kid's show. That would have been amazing as an adult comedy. So my god, it got dark. This is my favorite pinball table ever made, and the only table I remember playing IRL. This is a really cool one. You'll also notice the size of this table is a little different. Safecracker, designed by Pat Lawler, there's that name again. This unique table is noticeably shorter and more narrow than a standard pinball machine. Featuring timer-based gameplay as opposed to having a certain number of balls, players take on the role of a bank robber looking to collect a stash. The goal during the pinball part of the game is to break into the bank. Once inside, the gameplay switches to an interactive board game on the back glass that must be played in order to break into the vault. This game also features magic tokens, which are dispensed as rewards from a special slot in the back glass. These tokens can be collected or used to start a separate game mode on the table called Assault in the Vault. Only 1,148 units of this table were produced.
Intruder alert. 45 minutes until area shutdown.
So, this is my favorite pinball table ever made. Or my favorite pinball table I've ever played.
Hey, buddy.
You will be neutralized. You have been warned.
It is a harder table, but it's also pretty cool because you don't have balls. So losing time, or losing a ball only just wastes a little bit of time. You can just keep going as long as you don't lose a ball in sudden death. This table is also a product of the 90s because it depicts an inaccurate portrayal of cops doing their job correctly and efficiently.
We don't have much time. Lock is lit.
Any mistake will result in complete termination.
Nope, I'm sudden death. Well, am I not even gonna get to show the board game? There's a board game on the back glass, which is like the best part of this table. I don't think I'm gonna get to show it.
Area immediately. Unauthorized access through cellar.
Oh, good. I get to show it. Okay, this is the coolest part about this table. I love this.
Hey, look up and play the board game. Keep going.
Security guards have been notified of your presence.
He's just ahead.
Please use approved method for candy. 2000 access.
Holy shit.
Don't give up. We're almost in the vault.
I've never actually been able to do that before. I've never finished the board game. Or no, I have, just once. Because I've gotten a magic token already.
That was slick.
Holy shit. What was the hey listening for? Pog gamer moment.
Stop that.
Multi-ball. This table is so cool, and I've actually played it IRL. In fact, I played it before it came to Pinball Arcade.
Hit the wheel.
Now note that for the last few tables that I've shown you guys, you can't buy most of these anymore in this game.
Head for the wheel.
You can't buy Terminator 2. It's not in Pinball Effects. You can't buy Star Trek Next Gen. It's not in Pinball Effects.
Go for the wheel.
You can't buy Judge Dredd. It's not in Pinball Effects. You can't buy Twilight Zone, but it is in Pinball Effects. You can't buy Addams Family, but it is in Pinball Effects. You can buy Al's Garage Band.
Hit the wheel.
And you can't buy Doctor Who, and it's not in Pinball Effects. So keep that in mind. A fair amount of the tables I am showing you now, you can't get in this anymore. And in some cases, you can't get at all. Unlike some of the earlier Williams and Bally tables, these were not in the Williams collection.
We've still got
you just like using that one. It is a good alert.
Intruder is now in sudden death.
Let's lock them up. That's Sparkle.
That was not a nice thing to do.
Lock is lit.
You are trespassing.
Shit. Oh, well. This is not a high-scoring table because it's based on money instead of points.
Player 1.
Hot damn. I haven't done that well in a while.
Oh.
Clap emoji.
Goodbye.
Alright, we have 6 tables left. Alright, we're on to Tales of the Arabian Nights. Keep in mind what I said about stereotypes.
Open.
Unfortunately, when it comes to stereotypes, this is actually one of the best pinball tables ever. This is also the original free table before they lost the rights. Tales of the Arabian Nights. This that guy designed masterpiece brings to life some of the most memorable tales of 1001 Nights as told by the Persian queen, Scheherazade. The setting is ancient Baghdad, where wishes can be granted in the ultimate battle to rescue the princess. Charizard, yes. Rescue the princess from the clutches of an evil genie who taunts all foes. There are jewels to be collected in the playfield that will have players spinning Aladdin's lamp, flying on magic carpet ramps, or visiting the bazaar for countless awards. With a deep set of rules, beautiful artwork, engaging voiceover, and excellent sound effects, this is one of the most popular and highest rated tables of all time. 3,128 units of this table were produced.
In ancient Baghdad.
I am your genie. I will help you.
I apologize, the audio on this table is a little quiet. But I have the audio turned down because of how loud some of these tables are. Also, I really need to eat and we're already in overtime, so I am probably going to skip some of the remaining tables. Because I really need to eat. I didn't eat before stream. So I am going to stop at the next table. Which is actually fine, because the next table is probably the most important table I was going to talk about when it comes to pinball preservation. I promise I will return to Pinball Arcade at some point to try to showcase the rest of the collection. Because we have a lot of tables I haven't done. And it seems like people really enjoyed this. And I really enjoyed this. I'm having a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I need to eat. I can't be here much longer.
Welcome to the bazaar.
life calls and all that.
I have big points for you.
But I thank everyone who showed up and stayed for the end, because this is the most fun I've ever had streaming. This was a lot of fun to just talk about something that I'm passionate about, something that I don't normally get to do. And gotta thank Carrot Top for raiding earlier. Met a few new people, and I hope Peridot shows up again, because I do not know many people who share my level of knowledge and interest in pinball. Toxic's one of the only other people I know. So, this has been an amazing stream. And I've been planning this for like 2 fucking weeks. Alright. I'm not gonna let the match game come up. So yeah, we are going to end with the next table. Circus Voltaire. Bally, 1997.
Join the circus!
So, this is one of my all-time favorite tables. And it is almost... Hang on a sec. Turning my fan off. This is almost impossible to find in working order, which you will see. Circus Voltaire, the enchanting lady of the circus, guides the player throughout this highly rated table designed by John Popadiuk and Cameron Silver. This is the only Williams table to feature a dot matrix display mounted in the playfield, and it was the first with a cannon-firing backbox. Rising and disappearing below the playfield are a jet bumper and a wisecracking ringmaster that taunts the player throughout various modes. The player must light up the circus, unmask Voltaire, and then join the circus to achieve a multi-level wizard mode, and the chance to earn a spectacular grand finale. 2,704 units of this table were produced, featuring a variety of different colors of neon tubes and menagerie balls. This is an amazing table. This is in Pinball FX 3 and Pinball FX, so there is still a way of playing it. And that version is arguably the better version, because you actually get to choose the color of the neon tube.
I am the Ringmaster. Defeat me for the Ringmaster marvel.
You bet the neon tubes are the reason it breaks a lot? Oh, you would be right. Also, that Ringmaster is on a spring. Also, if you look in the middle of the neon light, there is something on the table that says boom. That's another reason why this breaks a lot. And so is this. Look at that spinning wheel. There are so many moving parts on this fucking table that any one of them can break down at any moment just from regular use. And this is why pinball preservation is important. And keep in mind, as I said earlier, Farsight Studios, the makers of Pinball Arcade and the previous Williams and Gottlieb Pinball Hall of Fame collections, their whole motivation was to make pinball easily accessible and readily available to preserve pinball history. Because eventually there will come a time where the last pinball table will break down and nobody will know how to fix it. Zen Studios got the rights to Williams and Bally to improve their universe of pinball. They have made no such commitment to pinball preservation. When Electronic Games sold the rights of Williams and Bally to Zen Studios, they would not let Farsight throw the tables at a discount so people could buy them before they went away. And Farsight made sure people knew that. When Stern forced Farsight to raise the prices of the pinball tables for the Stern tables, Farsight outright told people, "We don't like this, but we have no choice. Stern set the prices." When people complained to Zen Studios about the prices of Pinball FX versus Pinball FX 3, at first, they responded with a copy-paste answer to a lot of people in broken English, and then later deleted posts on Facebook to repost them with less criticism, and finally started answering people properly by saying that the update to fix the pricing had not been introduced. And there's a reason. There's actually a good reason why I'm ending here, because this is a perfect example of why Pinball Arcade was such an important project, and why so many people are fucking furious with Zen Studios. Farsight and Pinball Arcade were not perfect. You guys have seen how buggy this is. How many bugs and glitches are all over the place in this. This is held together by chewing gum and duct tape. The physics are wonky. There's a lot of annoying problems with it. You lack settings based on what version of the game you're launching, because I'm launching the DirectX 11 version. You don't get brightness settings in the DirectX 9 version. Pinball FX 3 is technically the better pinball game, but I am never giving Zen Studios another cent of my money. Not after the whole shit with Epic Games. Now, just so we have some music, I'm going to go back to Black Knight 2000. Farsight Studios died a hero, while Zen Studios lived long enough to become the villain. And that is the whole reason why I wanted to do the stream, because I wanted people to understand why everyone is so angry with Zen Studios. Because we have literally seen pinball history tonight, starting with 1966 all the way up to 1997. And Zen Studios only chose the most popular tables, the most recognizable ones, because it would make them money. They don't even have Black Knight 2000. They don't have Taxi. They don't have Pinball. They don't have Gorgar. They don't have Diner. They don't have... How old is it? They don't have Whirlwind. They don't have Earthshaker. They don't have Bonsai Run, because none of those were as popular or recognizable as Medieval Madness, Circus Voltaire, Indiana Jones, or the Addams Family. But they brought over fucking Hurricane, which is one of the worst tables. Which, granted, wasn't Pinball Arcade. That's still important to preserve. But it was easier to remake into something profitable than this. And that is the end of my pinball history lesson. I hope you all enjoyed this. I had an amazing time with this. I'm sorry I went overtime, but I want to do this again. I hope I can do this again. Maybe in a year, I'll come back to this with a new community, with a bigger community and more people, and I can run through the lesson a second time. I wouldn't mind doing that. Yeah, thank you, Lizard Man. Alright, I'm gonna find us a raid target, and I'm in desperate need of some food. Give me a sec here. Enjoy the music. Oh, I find someone. Let's see, Kohai's ended. Cat is streaming. Cat is back. Okay, we're gonna raid Cat. We are absolutely gonna raid Cat. She has had a rough few weeks. So before I do this, if you guys want to hang out after stream, I have a Discord. If you want to keep up with my bullshit and other updates, I have a Twitter. And if you ever miss a stream, I have a VOD channel on YouTube. I would highly recommend, for this stream particularly, to check tomorrow to watch the full VOD if you want to get the full lesson. And hear me ramble about stuff related to pinball. For our raid message, I know exactly what we're going to do. A longer message this time. If you are subbed to me, I would highly recommend using my emotes for this. If not, that's fine. You can use anyone else's emotes. As long as you get the raid message, that's all I really care about. You can use whatever emotes you want, even yours. I just would highly recommend, if you are subbed to me, to use mine this one time. We're gonna raid Cat Volts. I will post my new schedule tomorrow. We are going to have a funky week next week because I am desperately trying to get Outer Wilds finished before May. I will not have enough time to do the DLC before May, but I'm fairly confident I can finish the game on Wednesday. If not, I'll have to do another Sunday stream. Or I'll have to stream it again on Sunday. If I don't have to stream it again on Sunday, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I will post an announcement of what I will be streaming Sunday, probably on Saturday or Friday. But I hope you all have a good evening and a good rest of the night. I will see you all tomorrow. Let's show Cat some love. Good night, everyone.